I am early for once in my life. I'm 20 minutes early because I have to hurry up with this, guys. So I had this plan later. I was going to read it with Juliet, but we're getting company, and since we're going to be reading this document, my mom we're just talking. I was just joking around with her. I'm like, "Mom, what time is everybody coming? Because I'm reading this document and you're really loud." Because she's like really loud. Juliet tells me I'm really loud too, though. So I guess I'm loud too. But so it's like, it's one thing if I'm just like doing a lie, but like if I'm reading, I'm gonna be reading this document, so I don't want like her loud. So when there's company over, she's talking and laughing out loud. And then I was walking upstairs and I said, "Am I loud?" She's like, "You're loud." So we're just talking about, well, I'm loud too, I guess. But anyway, so I wanted to do this earlier. Like I said, I was gonna do it later. Juliet was gonna help me read it, but I can't chance it because we're getting company. So I'm gonna try to do this. I want to read through this document. It's really interesting. I know I wanted to do it last night, but I was going on no sleep. And it came out the night before last night, so I was like, now probably everybody's seen it, so I probably did wait till too late to do it. But I made a decision. I mean, I was awake last night, but I was like, am I gonna be scattered? I should have just did it last night. I kind of am regretting that, but it's like I'll just get a good night's sleep. Hey, Spirit of the Trees. Hey, cool gamer. Um, so yeah, I bet you most of you guys already read it, but I want to read it to you guys because I think it's really interesting. And I think the state did a freaking excellent job at pointing out things. And I think it like, you know me, I've always been more on the side of I do think they have the right guy. I'm open. I am definitely open to hearing new ideas. There is some really weird things that don't make sense that make you like doubt it. So of course, if you have reasonable doubt, I'm just hoping, but after reading this document, it convinces me that they are on it more than what everybody's given them credit for. Like everybody's doubting. You know what I'm saying? I think they are. I think the trial, and this is what I've been saying from day one, I think that they are going to surprise us at the trial and we're going to be like, okay, you got the right guy. I hope. Because if not, then it's going to suck having doubt. And especially if the death penalty was on the table, which I actually watched this, that News Nation. I know a lot of you guys are not like a News Nation now, but I still like them. They still have like good stuff, at least that like stuff that we can't get, we're not like big, like us little independent creators. We don't have access to a lot of the stuff they have access to. So they're definitely a good tool to use in true crime. So I'm still going to use them because we need, we need them. Like we need people that have access to stuff like that, like to different people and stuff. But anyway, so they interviewed, who were they interviewing? Somebody up talking about like what are the chances of them, bringing the death penalty, and there's good chances. I should play that video. Maybe I'll play it. I just want to get started on these documents before the company comes because I have a couple hours to work with here before they come. So let's read them, and then we could probably discuss after. Hey, Amy. Hey, Big White Horse. Um, all right, hold on. Let's bring them up. Great. Got freaking trees. Cutting trees and can't win. You cannot win around here. Either there's grass growing or mowing. Hey, Big White Horse. Hey, Go Batman. Hey, Joy Jones. Have you guys already read this? Well, how many of you guys have actually read it all the way through? Like I read it, like, just read the whole thing. It's really good. It's like very like I'm like sitting there reading it like, yeah, like like behind the state of what they're saying. And I feel like it kind of shows you what, and I even Shauna was trying to tell me, it's just defense tactics. That's normal what the defense is doing. But a lot of these people are like, oh, well, they're saying this or that. And Shauna was trying to tell me, no, this is normal stuff. That's what they do, which, yeah, they should. They're defending somebody's life. They need to appeal and make any motion possible against everything, right? Because this is what their job, right? But like I don't know. I'm just like, yes, on the side of the state. Like I feel like, yeah, they bring up some really good points in this document. At least I thought. I thought they did a really good job like putting the defense in their spot. But we'll see how the defense responds to that. Hey, Go Batman. Um, thank you. All right, hold on one second. I was actually just seeing if I could find that one clip I was talking about while I wait to, for a couple more people to come in before I read it, but I could just read it, I guess. It was just it just popped up under my thing where it was talking about the chances of them seeking the death penalty, and it was like, "Oh, well, we'll go to it later." Okay. Thanks for joining again, Batman. You are the man. Yeah, it's good. Hopefully Shauna will come in. I told her maybe if she wants to come in to, 'cause she knows how to she's good with these documents and stuff, but I'm just gonna read them. I'm probably not gonna stop. At first, if I was gonna the plans were when I was gonna do it with Juliet, we were gonna, like, be able to just stop and talk about it and stuff, but number 1, since I have company coming over. Number 2, after I really thought about it, I was like, "You know what, though? We could do that later." Some people I bet you there's a lot of people that have watched videos and saw, like, information on it, but how many people have actually sat down and read it all? And so, like, if I interrupt it too much, then it interrupts that whole, like, just sitting down and reading it all type thing. I might just make a couple remarks, but I might just go ahead and just read it and maybe take a break in the middle because it's really good, guys. Like, if you really absorb what they're saying, I feel like it's like it just kind of shows you like what the defense is trying to pull, like play, but it's normal. I mean, they're not doing anything illegal, but like, like some of their little tactics, and it's just like, no, the state has every right to do what they've been doing. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I the state has every right, just like you have every right. They have every right to do their thing too. But um, okay. So basically, they're trying to request this like all this information on like how the DNA. They found that the DNA on the knife sheath, whatever, and the process that they used to match it to Bryan, like, it's IGG, like, investigative gen hold on. I have it. I'll share my screen here. I have the thing up real quick. Oh, shoot, I just exited out something. Oh, well. Hold on one second. Here, I'll share this one. So it's investigative genetic genealogy. So they're basically thanks, Eddie. Thank you. They're basically requesting like all this information of how they got to Bryan, right? And there's going to be a lot of personal information that they would have to give out and stuff that they're saying it doesn't fall under this rule where they have to give if you go through like all this rule 16 and like all the stuff that they have to give to the defense. It doesn't fall under that because they're not using it. Well, it actually explains it on the document really well. If you guys like pay attention, I don't even need to explain it. It explains like each little thing as it's talking about it, like why they don't need to give it to them. And if they do end up using one of these witnesses that they got from the IGG, which they're not planning on it though. You know what I'm saying? They will give the information that needs to be given under the rules. You know what I'm saying? And so they're just saying that they don't need to give that in between stuff. They just need to they'll give them the information of the testing and stuff like that, but they don't need to give like how they got there. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? They only need to give what they're using, and they explain it all. I'm not even going to do it any justice trying to explain. Just pay attention to the document, and it explains it really good. It really does. So it's like, no, they don't. Sorry, you don't have to do that. We don't need to give it to you because of this, and that. And I feel like they just describe it so good. Um, and then like talking about how it doesn't go against his Fourth Amendment, because like he left his DNA there, like on the knife sheath. It's not his property. He left it there. You know what I'm saying? They explain everything so good. So if you really just pay attention, it actually is really, it's pretty easy to understand what they're saying if you just kind of like pay attention to what they're saying. Because I know some people kind of give up on these documents, like, oh, I can't understand it. But this is actually good because it's like science. It's like not law based. I mean, it is, but it's like, I don't know. I enjoyed it, but I like science and that kind of stuff. And okay, so let's do it. Um, oh yeah. I always that's what I always thought it was the DNA. And then that's when they matched up the launcher, but some people have a problem with that. So I feel like either way you look at it, if you look at it like some people are like, let's say some people argue, oh, it was the Elantra. Then they're gonna argue and say, well, that's not fair. Or it was the DNA that made them found the Elantra. Oh, they're gonna argue the other way. So I feel like either way, everybody's gonna have a problem with how they went about it. I feel like that we got some they did some good work. I mean, I really do. I know I am the minority in this, but like, yeah, there is some holes and then there is some weird things in the affidavit, not weird, but things that make you want more information, but that's what we're gonna get in the trial. And we're slowly, like through this, we got a little bit more information because they had to explain some of this stuff. So I mean, it slowly gives us a little bit, but I mean, we're gonna get it in the trial, and I really do think we're gonna be satisfied. I do. I think they have the right guy. I mean, um, even though like I'm still questioning some of the weird things that we're all questioning of different things, like I know he talked about the Doordash driver stuff and like, but I still that's why I was trying to like see is it possible that he's the Doordash driver and the killer because I there's too much things that I just feel like that they do that it is him. That Bryan is involved. And I'm open to maybe there's somebody else that's working with him too. And I'm open if it comes out that it wasn't him. I'm leaning more towards it was him. That's all. Um okay. So let's start reading this here. All right, let me make it bigger. And you guys, yeah, seriously try to pay attention because it really is interesting. How many if you guys how many of you guys have read it? Put a thumbs up if you've already read it. Okay, so and I highlighted that there's all kinds of important stuff. The reason I highlighted stuff, it was to help me kind of take notes and stuff. So don't go by like, oh, just pay attention to the highlighted stuff. I just kind of highlighted it as I was going through it for my own purposes. So if it bothers you, I could probably bring up a clean one. Is that going to bother you if it's highlighted? I hope not. But yeah. Yeah, I could believe that. Yeah, no, me too. Yeah, I wanna know about that too. Like I said, there's still things that are making me wonder, and the DoorDash driver, that's kinda weird why they never I mean, I understand some of the theories, oh, they're just trying to protect the identity of the DoorDash driver, but then if this DoorDash driver is clear, they don't need to say who it is, but they could just say it's been cleared, but they haven't, and I've gotten so many freaking comments and, messages saying, Zav, they cleared him. It was like some people be like, it's on the press conference. It's on this, and I'm like, send me it because I went through every press conference. I went through the documents. I cannot find it anywhere, but people swear. But I think no, nobody has yet to send me anything that says that. So I don't know why everybody is like dead set on them saying it when nobody could give me any proof that they said it. So yeah, no, there's some weird things. Don't get me wrong. I'm still gonna look into it, and I'm still searching. I'm just saying the more I don't know, I'm just saying I'm leaning more towards it. That's all. Like, if I had to guess right now, I would say they got the right guy. Like, if I had to pick, I would say, yeah. Um, like, more I'm like, just, like, leaning more towards guilt. But like I said, I'm still open. I'm not sold on it 100%. So, I'm still looking, and I'm still, like hearing other people's ideas. I loved Sleuthy's, theory. That was very interesting, and very plausible. Doesn't make sense why they never cleared the DoorDash driver. I'm sorry, it doesn't. And I know, like I said, people argue, well, it's because, yeah, the identity. Well, then they could just say, DoorDash driver cleared. They don't need to give us the freaking identity. But yeah. Okay, so but with that being said, there are some holes in that theory. Like there's some questions then like, okay, if he's the DoorDash driver and the killer, then how would he know they were going to order food? There's that big issue. Number two, the whole what was the other one? There's another big one that people bring up about the DoorDash that doesn't quite fit. So there's just nothing 100% fits. That's the sucky thing. Nothing does it. Um, all right. Hi, Spicy Sugar. Hi, Ara. Yeah. Yeah, I know, that's the only that's really all it mentions in it, commercial zone, is that's basically all it says, that, the PCA, that's basically all that they mention the DoorDash driver is that. Why wouldn't they be like, "He's cleared?" And the thing is when they're, like, on the press conference naming all, like, the private drivers cleared, the food truck guy, what do they call him? Whatever, that guy's cleared. Why wouldn't they just name the freaking DoorDash driver? Because he would be very important and people would wanna know because he was there supposedly around the same time as the freaking murder happened. So, I'm sorry. You need to tell us what's up. Is that guy or girl cleared then? Because you're naming all these other people that weren't even with him around the same time. This person supposedly had some kind of contact with these victims around the time that you're saying that the murders happened. And you're not even gonna tell us if you cleared them. Like, you don't have to tell us who they are, okay, if they're not a suspect, but are they freaking cleared? You know? Okay, I'm gonna start, guys, I'm sorry, I'm just, hey, Sandra. Yeah, more, I hope. I will be really ma and we're all gonna be so upset. Let's say we do go to trial and then that's all that they have is, like, very, like just like the stuff of the in the PCA, like, how oh my god, that will be horrible, but then the jury will see through that, but I really don't. I think they're going to be on it for some reason. I really do. I think this, prosecute I don't know, I just think they're gonna be really good. Alright, let's do this. I'm trying to make it a little bit bigger. Let me do, like, 225. Alright, alright. Okay, so, yeah, this is a motion for protective order. Okay, so this is from the state. Hi, Amethyst, Noor, Kelly, okay, D-Life, Juanita. No, but Juanita, I know I've tried to ask you that in the comments. Can you send me where it says it besides the New York Post article? Can you send me something where it says he's cleared? Because we cannot find it. And I'll say I'm wrong. Like if somebody just sends it to me, I thought that too, Juanita. Trust me. If you look at my previous videos, DoorDash driver is off my radar. I thought, and we all thought, like in our heads, oh, he's been cleared or she. But then after the fact, we all go back to look why we thought that, and none of us can find anything that says that. If you could find something, Juanita, send me because I have looked. I promise. I went through all those updates on their webpage. I went through all the press conferences. I tried to find all the little interviews with the law enforcement. I mean, with Fry, I've only found one. I only found a couple interviews after they arrested Bryan with him. The rest were those little video updates that he did. Um, I can't and I'm not gonna be able to say that it's been confirmed or I 100% believe it until somebody shows me where it says that. I know, and that's what nobody could find it. I we went through trust me, all of us that have been going through this case, we went through the documents. It's not in there. Okay. Anyway, comes now the state of Idaho hold on, let me move this over a little bit. There we go. By and through the Latah County prosecuting attorney and respectfully moves to the court for a protective order pursuant to ICR 16. Now, I'm going to apologize ahead of time if I pronounce things wrong. Just forgive me. I'm human and especially reading a lot. It might be words I normally might not, I might actually even know how to say, but I just say it wrong because there's a lot to read. So just hold your comments if I pronounce stuff wrong. Anyway, okay, so information related to investigative genetic genealogy. This case arises from a quadruple homicide. Law enforcement found the DNA of a potential suspect at the crime scene, and the FBI submitted the DNA to one or more publicly available genetic genealogy services to determine potential relatives of the suspect. The FBI then used common genealogical techniques to develop a family tree leading to defendant. The state seeks to protect from the disclosure the names and personal information of the hundreds of innocent relatives on the family tree, the names of the publicly available genetic genealogy services used, and certain other information described below. The disclosure of this information is not required by Rule 16 of the Idaho Criminal Rules and should be protected from disclosure for the good cause described below, including the state's privilege to protect the identity of informers as described in Idaho Rule of Evidence 509. So, yeah, Chopper, I know. Yeah. What's up, Chopper? Factual background. On November 13th, 2022, law enforcement found the bodies of Madison Mogan, Kaylee Gonzalez, Xana Cornoto, and Ethan Chapin at 1122 King Road in Moscow, Idaho. All four victims died from apparent knife wounds. Law enforcement found a K-bar knife sheath on a bed next to the bodies of Madison and Kaylee. The sheath was face down and partially under both Madison's body and the comforter on the bed. The law enforcement seized the K-bar knife sheath pursuant to a search warrant. The Idaho State Police Lab in Meridian, Idaho, located DNA on the K-bar knife sheath. The ISP lab determined the DNA came from a single source and that the source was male. Oh, okay. There's some little notes that I put, little notes, like the definitions and stuff that I'll read. Okay. So once law enforcement had single source DNA from the K-bar knife sheath, they conducted what is called a short tandem repeat, STR analysis. Let me see how I defined it, if it's even. So the STR, when I looked it up, it says the most common type of DNA profiling today for criminal cases and other types of forensic uses. Anyway, STR DNA analysis involves looking at 20 regions within human DNA and allows law enforcement to make a direct comparison between two STR DNA profiles. Law enforcement submitted the STR DNA profile obtained from the K-bar knife sheath to the Combined DNA Index System, CODIS. You know what? Let me do it. There, that's bigger. Hold on. Hold on. There we go. That makes it bigger. Okay. So the CODIS, we all have heard of that, a database of STR DNA profiles from convicted offenders, arrestees, and crime scene evidence to identify the source of the DNA. No match was found. Hold on. Why the heck is my... Hold on, guys. Why is that? Hold on, my one screen is like froze over here. Just bear with me here. Oh well, I don't know. Okay. Okay, so law enforcement submitted the STNR. Oh, I already did that. Sorry. So no match was found. Unable to find a match using STR DNA analysis, law enforcement decided to use investigative genetic genealogy to find a lead. Genetic genealogy allows individuals to trace their lineage or connect with unknown family members using DNA. Typically involves sending a DNA sample, such as a tube of saliva, to a genetic genealogy service like Ancestry.com or 23andMe. The genetic genealogy service then creates a single nucleotide polymorphism (SNP) profile to use for genealogical purposes. I didn't define that. Hold on. You know what? I'm going to go back. 1 second, guys. I had to get out of the StreamYard over there. It was froze. Anyway, where are we at? Sorry, just bear with me. Let that sink in for a minute while I'm doing this. There we go. Good. Okay. Phew. Okay. So where are we at? So a SNP profile is different than a STR DNA profile and is used more often than genealogical purposes. And I like certain notes that I wanted to look up after they said it. So I just like looked up the difference between the two, and it just says the STRs are short repeats, whereas SNPs refer to a single nucleotide that is swapped out. Both can easily be different between humans, but STRs is in STRs, the issue is mainly the length of the repeat, whereas the SNP is the actual base in that spot. So they're saying that the STRs are used more often. Hold on, let me see. Yeah, I don't know. It's more you guys could look more into that if you want, but, um oh, no, the SNP they're saying is, used more in genealogical. Okay. Which is that makes sense because the STR is the oh, I just wanna short repeats, SNP is the actual base in the spot. Um, I might actually, like, look research a little bit more about DNA. Hey, well, it'll be useful in these cases. Get a little bit more familiar with everything. But anyway, the genetic genealogy service then uses an algorithm to compare the user's SNP profile to SNP profiles submitted to the genetic genealogy service by other users to determine ancestry and potential relatives. The genetic genealogy service shares with the user a list of potential relatives, and depending on the specific genetic genealogy service, personally identifying information on those individuals, like their name, email address, and the amount of DNA the user shares with the potential relatives. The user does not receive any genetic information pertaining to the other database users, i.e., users' DNA profiles are not shared with each other. Hey, walking Nyan Tonka. I think I butchered your name. Sorry. Hey, Lavina. Okay, so this same process, used frequently by members of the public, can also be used by law enforcement as part of their investigation, a technique referred to as investigative genetic genealogy or IGG. I don't think I added. No, I didn't add anything to that one. Okay. Once a publicly available genetic genealogy service shows law enforcement potential relatives of the suspect, law enforcement applies traditional investigative and genealogical methods to build a family tree in an effort to follow the tree to the suspect or a close relative of the suspect. Family trees can be used to narrow down a potential suspect based on factors such as age, gender, opportunity, known physical characteristics of the suspect. Um, so this just shows you the difference. So while STR DNA analysis involves looking at 20 regions within human DNA, a SNP contains about 650,000 of the human genome's 3.3 billion nucleotides. So remember, hold on, I want to see what they said about SNP because I think SNP is the one that they said. Uh, I want to see, hold on, if they said it yet. What did they, okay, hold on. I just like to, all right, anyway. Next page. Okay. In this case, investigators use IgG to begin the process of developing a lead to the individual who left DNA on the K-bar knife sheath. The Idaho State Police utilized a private lab to develop a SNP profile from the DNA on the K-bar knife sheath. The private lab started using genetic genealogy to develop a family tree. But after law enforcement decided the FBI would take over, the private lab ceased its efforts and sent the SNP profile to the FBI. So I know there was a lot of like people theories of like, oh, why did this switch? Why did they didn't finish it? This and that. I think they're explaining a lot of questions. I feel like that there's some people that were wondering that part. Some of these parts didn't bother me because I figured they would. There's reasons they did some of this stuff, and I'm sure it's like technical and stuff. But anyway, so are you guys following that? The private lab started using genetic genealogy to develop a family tree. But after law enforcement decided the FBI would take over, the private lab ceased its efforts and sent the SNP profile to the FBI. The FBI uploaded the SNP profile to one or more publicly available genetic genealogy services to identify possible family members of the suspect based on shared genetic data. The FBI could then view through the genetic genealogy services portal information regarding potential relatives of the suspect who left DNA on the K-bar knife sheath. Based on information the FBI could see in the genetic genealogy services portal, the FBI went to work building family trees of the genetic relatives to the suspect DNA left at the crime scene in an attempt to identify the contributor of the unknown DNA. So they're working, they're trying to find because they ran it through CODIS. Nothing came up because, CODIS, you have to be in the system basically. So, this is gonna be the key, like, all these ancestry, all these things that people just do now recreationally, they've already solved a couple cases, so this is gonna be, like, pretty soon when, like, it's, like, the norm to have this done, they're gonna have so much information that, like, you better not freaking leave DNA at a crime you commit because 'cause you're gonna be caught. Anyway, where are we at? Okay, so the FBI built the family tree using the same tools and methods used by members of the public who wish to learn more about their ancestors. For example, the FBI consulted social media, viewed vital records such as birth and death certificates, and viewed other information already contained in the user portal for the genetic genealogy service, including unverified information submitted by other users of the genetic genealogy service. The FBI also consulted subscription-based databases available to law enforcement for information on individual people. So I like to read these little notes. So I should read them as they come, huh? So this is from, hold on, I don't know where they insert this note, but it says for ease of reference, this motion focuses on the FBI's IGG efforts. The state is also seeking to protect partial family tree created by the private lab, and it should be protected for the same reasons the FBI's IGG efforts should be protected. I'm trying to see where that note is, or where they are. Oh, right here. Okay, the private lab ceased its efforts, sent the SNP profile to the FBI. Okay, so okay, all right. The product of the genealogy conducted by the FBI was a family tree that contained the name, birth date, and death date, if applicable, of hundreds of relatives, as well as their familial connections between each other and the suspect, Bryan C. Kohberger. The FBI then sent to local law enforcement a tip to investigate defendant. The IGG process pointed law enforcement toward defendant, but it did not provide law enforcement with substantive evidence of guilt. Okay, so they're saying the IGG process pointed them to the defendant, but did not. Well, you see, it says what it says. um, no evidence of guilt. Okay. The FBI did not, for example, conduct a direct comparison between the SNP profile from the K-bar knife sheath and the defendant's SNP profile. That type of direct comparison required the more traditional STR DNA analysis, which was conducted by the Idaho State Police, not the FBI. Prior to the FBI's IGG efforts, the ISP lab developed the traditional STR DNA profile from the DNA on the K-bar knife sheath. After identification of defendant, law enforcement recovered trash from the home of the defendant's parents. An ISP lab did STR DNA analysis of items from the trash for comparison to the unknown crime scene DNA. I want to see what the note says. So here's the note. 3. STR DNA analysis has been used in criminal cases for inculpatory purposes for more than 20 years. We believe the reliability of the PCR STR method of DNA analysis is sufficiently well established to permit the courts of this circuit to take judicial notice of it in future cases. Okay. So yeah, they go to his parents' trash. They get trash that had DNA that belonged to Bryan's biological father. Pursuant to a search warrant, law enforcement then collected DNA from defendants via a buccal swab. A traditional STR DNA comparison was done between the STR profile found on the K-bar knife sheath and the defendant's DNA. So now they have the direct comparison to the knife sheath DNA and the defendant's DNA. The comparison showed a statistical match. Oh, I want to hear it. Hey, if I finish this earlier, I might do an open panel. I was gonna do a separate open panel live. Maybe I could add it onto this, or I could just do it separate, like get off and come back on. Would you want to come on? I would love to hear other theories. Cause I mean, I'm open. I don't know. I'm series that makes sense. Yeah, I would like to hear why do you think that they um well, I think are you saying the reason because they can't basically make him get like if they went to Bryan, Bryan wasn't gonna just give him his DNA, and I don't think they wanted to tip him off that they were onto him quite yet. So you have to volunteer. I mean, it's and you know what I'm saying? They wouldn't had a reason to make him give him at the time. So they had to kind of go through the trash. And then once you put your trash, how does that work? Basically, as far as like as if it's your property anymore, if once you put it out in the trash, it's like not your property anymore, or whatever that law is where they're allowed to go through it. So no, they did get it, but I'm saying that's why they had to do it this way. But I would like to hear, yeah, I'd like to hear your theory. I feel like they almost had to do it this way because he wouldn't have given it to him. Yeah, they could have asked him, but do you really think he would have been like, "Sure, here's my DNA," before he had to. Now, once they arrested him, he had to basically, right? Anyway, where are we at? Okay, so I already read that. Oh, STR analysis. Where did they put that note in? Hold on. For okay, where it says about the trash belonging to his dad, and it says STR analysis is routinely used for kinship analysis, such as paternity. Okay. So, hold on, this continued. So the comparison showed a statistical match, specifically the STR profile is at least 5.37 octillion times more likely to be seen if defendant is the source than if any unrelated individual randomly selected from the general population is the source. Um, well, here's the thing though. That would be tricky because he lived in an apartment. Because I've thought of that too, but I'm like, no, I understand why they didn't. He lived in an apartment complex. They probably share trash. How would they have known? How can they prove that, oh, this person's Brian's? You would have to, at least with, okay, Brian's parents, there's only one male living there, couple people living there. They can narrow that down. How would they be able to prove that the trash that they get, that everybody shares in the complex is Brian's? That would be hard. You'd have to be going through so many different, that would be so expensive because how are you going to make sure you get his? And then to prove that that was his. You know what I'm saying? After like, am I not, maybe I'm not seeing something, but do you see where I'm coming from? How many people live in that apartment complex? I mean, that would just be, it'd be smarter just to go to the parents, I would think. Oh, really, Kay? It sounds like what in this document at that one point that they are planning on using it. But I don't know, walking Yan. Will you come up maybe on open panel and explain? I don't see where you're saying your theory. Oh, you're saying about collecting the trash. Yeah, I just know. I've thought of that way back when people were saying it, and I never, I mean, the argument, because when people were saying it like way back about like, why didn't they just to collect his trash? And I don't think I ever, in my head, I had an answer, but I don't know if I ever addressed it because I was like, no, they couldn't. There's no way. There's too many people there. Too many people that live in that complex. That'd be too hard. Number one, to make sure you get his. How expensive to go through all this trash to get the profile you need because DNA is expensive. Number two, then to say and without a doubt that oh, this one belongs to this guy. How? I mean, that would be hard, right? But I want to hear your thing. Let me see. It brings into question about incriminating oneself. On genealogy, curious to learn if he gave permission to share. Well, no, they see commercial. That's why listen to pay attention to this document. They explain why that no, it's all legal the way that they what they're doing and what they're planning on using it for. As far as like if they went against, like, any of his rights, like, the Fourth Amendment, I think it is, right? And no, they explain it, and to me, I don't know, I mean, you guys can maybe disagree, but when they get into all that, like, to me, it's no, they're doing everything legally. I don't think he has a ground to stand on as far as, like, if they broke, like, any legal rights of his, if it was BK's own genealogy, curious. You'll see. I don't know. I think it's all answered in this document, but let me know after we read it if you think so. Because I think they're pretty thorough about pointing all those little things out. Okay, the genealogy conducted by the FBI. Wait, did I already read that part? Hold on. I don't even remember where I'm just going to start here. I don't remember where I left off. Okay, so the genealogy conducted by the FBI resulted in a lead that pointed law enforcement to defend it, but did not result in creation of many documents or records. Much of the information relied on by the FBI was only viewed through the user portal in the publicly available genetic genealogy service and other investigative databases. The FBI did not download or create copies of those records. One defendant was in custody. The FBI removed the SNP profile from the genetic genealogy services pursuant to the United States Department of Justice interim policy for forensic genetic genealogical DNA analysis and searching. This means the FBI no longer has access to view much of the information it used to create the family tree and cannot view it again without resubmitting the SNP profile to the genetic genealogy service. To the state knowledge, the only records that reflect the FBI's effort to create defendant's family tree is the family tree itself. Notes jotted down by FBI agents as they constructed the family tree, and any records created to document the removal of the SNP profile from the genetic genealogy service pursuant to the DOG policy. The state has not seen, nor does the state possess, these records or copies of these records. Argument. The state seeks a protective order for a narrow category of information, namely, hold on a second, information related to the use of the IGG in this case. Idaho Criminal Rule 16 governs discovery and criminal proceedings. State versus Ish. Rule 16 is broad, but is not a free-for-all. The rule contemplates the exchange of discrete categories of information between the state and the defense. As relevant here, the rule contemplates the state will provide 3 discrete categories of information. Any material or information that would tend to negate the guilt of the accused. Any documents or objects that are material to the preparation of the defense, intended for use by the prosecutor as evidence at trial, or were obtained from the defendant or belong to the defendant, and reports of scientific tests or experiments. If a defendant believes he should receive information that does not fall within one of the discrete Rule 16 categories, the rule allows the defendant to seek an order from the court for information where the defendant can show substantial need for the information in the preparation of his case. See ICR 16. Here, defendant served on the state a request for discovery that calls for the IGG information, even though the IGG information falls outside of Rule 16. Without first obtaining an order from this court, the state now seeks, and the court should enter, an order protecting the information related to the use of IGG in this case. Specifically, the state seeks to protect the following information: the raw data related to the SNP profile and the underlying lab documentation related to the development of the profile, such as chain of custody forms, lab standard operating procedures, and analyst notes. So this is a list of the stuff the state's trying to protect, okay? All information related to IGG efforts in creating a family tree and identifying defendants' potential relatives, including the identities of the genetic genealogy service, and the personally identifying information of defendants' relatives. And then the state does not seek to protect or has or will disclose the following information: a genotype kit report from a private lab utilized by the Idaho State Police, which documents that a DNA test was performed, information related to the STR DNA analysis conducted using the DNA recovered from the K-bar knife sheath and the DNA recovered from the defendant's parents' trash. Information related to the STR DNA analysis conducted using the DNA recovered from the K-bar knife sheath and the DNA recovered from the defendants via a buccal swab. Um, wait, walk in yon. Hold on a second. Let me see if I could find. Give me 1 second, guys. One second. All right, sorry. Okay, let's go back to where we're at. Sorry, I guess I pronounced that word wrong. Buckle swap. I always say it buccal. I don't know why. Buckle swap. Sorry, guys. Like I said, I know I'm going to pronounce things wrong. There's a lot of, it's a mouthful. There's a lot of big words that you have to say a lot. So it's a mouthful. Okay. Um Oh, I agree, Leslie. I 100% agree on that. No, that doesn't show stalking. I actually have to still do my cell phone tower thing. I know. Dang it. No, I agree, Leslie. Yeah, I don't think that that necessarily. I mean, that doesn't prove anything really. Um, Now, if they could come back and show like, and I mean, I doubt they'll be able to get that specific. Sometimes they can, like I said, with the Lori Vallow, they were able to pinpoint like very specific GPS. And if for some reason they are able to do it and they show like that he's at their house, but that would still wouldn't prove stalking. That would almost make you want to look into, wait a minute, is he friends with them? Does he know somebody like in that area? Was he a friend of a friend and went over there to hang out? The whole drug dealer theory, which a lot of people, I mean, I know there's really no um information to back that up that he was even a drug dealer, but we do know that he did have uh take part in drugs, at least at one point of his life. But yeah, no, I agree, Leslie. Why are people saying that? Shauna, yay! Shauna's here. So Shauna's a paralegal. So well, I guess this part that we're reading now really isn't like, yeah, it's more. But anyway, yeah, if you have any questions, I didn't even finish any of those sentences. I apologize. Somebody got on me about that, how I cut off. I think that's a little bit of ADD coming out. Um, But yeah, so if you guys have any like maybe law questions, she's pretty aware of like forms and stuff. Wait, you say the chat's ridiculous? Wait, what do you mean, Midwest? This chat is ridiculous. Planted, framed, please. I'm not sure what you're saying. Are you saying that it's ridiculous that people are saying planted or frame? Or are you saying it's ridiculous people are saying he's? I mean, either way, all freaking opinions are welcome. Because like I said, I like hearing everybody's. I've learned a lot from you guys. Oh, no, you're fine, Shauna. I just thought if you wanted to be in chat, because you're good in chat and people could talk to you. But I do also want you guys to pay attention to this because I know a lot of times, maybe documents you kind of like maybe zone out, but I feel like this has it answers a lot of the questions as far as not, of course, the huge questions that we want to know, but like some of these little details about stuff, about like, oh, is this his property? Oh, is the state doing anything they shouldn't, or are they not? Yeah, we're still on the first one. Okay, I'm gonna continue. I know, Shauna, I wish I would have read this last night. I'm looking at 33 pages, right? Well, I didn't realize the half of it was just, like, other cases. You know what I'm saying? Like, where they source, like, references, which I don't even need to read that part. So I would have been ready. I only had, like, 2 more pages to go last night, and I would have been ready, and I could have done it last night. I'm so mad at myself. Like, cause I thought I had, like, another 13 pages, and I'm like, "I'll just wait." I just wish I would've because now, like, everybody went through it last night. Now I feel like everybody already read it and stuff. I'm always late. I'm so late to the game. But anyway, like I said, I didn't sleep, so I'm glad I got a clear head now. I mean, I slept last night, but if I would've went last night, I wouldn't have. Okay, let me continue here. Why is this? I don't like how freaking StreamYard has like a wow. They have like a new setup. I don't like this. All right, I'm gonna read it, guys. I'm sorry. They have like a new thing where I don't like how they have it now. All right. So we just read the state does not seek to protect and has or will disclose. So we read the things that they will disclose, have or will disclose. And then okay, let's do it. All right, the court should grant an order protecting the IGG information. In this case, because the IGG information does not fit into any of the discrete categories listed in Rule 16. And good cause exists to protect the information, including the need to protect the privacy of the defendant's relatives. I mean, do you guys at least agree on that? That you understand why they don't? And I went through like Rule 16. There's a lot. I try to go through it just to so I was familiar with some of it. I didn't. Hold on, let me see. Where do I have it? I don't know. You probably have a better reference, Shauna, but I was trying to go through like what Rule 16 is and stuff. But do you agree? Like they shouldn't have to give him that. I mean, that's sharing like so much information from his relatives and then hearing, I don't know if this is true, guys. You could tell me, but I mean, is this legit or just a rumor? But they were saying how his sister like lost her job because of being his sister and stuff like that. So can you imagine relatives and then you're given like information and then like, oh, that you're related and that should be, yeah, that shouldn't, I feel like that should be protected in my opinion. So I agree. So I don't think that they're doing anything wrong by protecting it because why do they need to know necessarily? Do they really need to know how they got there? They just need to know the end result as far as like they were able to match Bryan's DNA with the knife sheath DNA. So they're saying they don't need to give the IGG information, right? I mean, I know I'm not asking. I know they're saying that. I'm just saying I agree. I don't think they do need to give it to them. Anyway, so Rule 16 of the Idaho Criminal Rule does not require. Wait, hold on. I forgot. Yeah, hold on. Rule 16 does not require the disclosure of the IGG information because the IGG information is not exculpatory. Plus, it's not exculpatory. If anything, it proves more guilt. You know what I'm saying? It's proving guilt, not exculpatory. So the Idaho criminal rule does not require the disclosure of the IGG information because the IGG information does not tend to negate the guilt or reduce the potential punishment of the defendant. The rule requires the state to disclose any material or information in the prosecuting attorney's possession or control that tends to negate the guilt of the accused as to the offense charged or that will tend to reduce the punishment for the offense. ICR 16, as written, this rule largely mirrors the federal Brady requirement that the state produce to a criminal defendant. Wait, so as written, this rule largely mirrors the federal requirement the state produces to a criminal defendant. All material exculpatory information. See State versus Bohm. But Rule 16 and Brady are limited to exculpatory information. They do not require the prosecutor to make a complete and detailed accounting to the defense of all police investigatory work on a case. While the question of whether IGG information must be disclosed as exculpatory is one of first impression in Idaho. Courts outside the Idaho have correctly decided that IGG information need not be disclosed as exculpatory. In the matter of Michael Green, case number blah, 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 ruling on motion to compel production of discovery, attached here too as Exhibit A. In Green, law enforcement used DNA recovered from the victim's nightgown to identify the defendant as a possible suspect. See Green. Then they surreptitiously recovered items from the defendant's garbage that contained DNA and found through STR-DNA testing that the DNA in the defendant's garbage matched the DNA found on the victim's nightgown. A saliva test then confirmed that defendant's DNA matched the DNA on the victim's nightgown. The defendant moved to compel the disclosure of the IGG information. After an in-camera hearing, the court denied motion. The court explained, okay? So they're basically in this case, they did the same thing that Bryan's defense is doing. They moved to compel the disclosure of the IGG information. That's what Bryan's defense is trying to do. They're trying to get disclosure. They're trying to get the information. Well, the court denied it in this case. So they're bringing it as a source here. So it says the evidence that is material to the defendant's guilt or innocence is the testing that followed the IGG investigation, which directly compared a fresh swab of the defendant's DNA with the DNA profile collected from the victim's nightgown. It is only this evidence that the people intend to present at the trial. The people are not obligated to provide it. The people are not obligated to provide its preliminary search of the genealogy databases for possible matches. Sorry. Okay, hold on. Let me read this again. I'm sorry. The people are not obligated to provide its preliminary search of the genealogy databases for possible matches, which is investigatory in nature and is not exculpatory or material to the defendant's defense. So it's not exculpatory. So that's one thing that they don't have to worry about as far as in this case too. Yeah, so you guys get that then? Okay. As this case illustrates, the state is not required to disclose the IGG information under Rule 16 because the IGG information the state seeks to protect is not favorable to the defendant on the issues of guilt or punishment. The information provided to a local law enforcement by the FBI was nothing more than a tip, a lead for local law enforcement to follow up on should they choose to. The genealogical tip did not prove or substantiate defendant's guilt. Rather, the tip allowed a local law enforcement to focus their investigation on defendant and obtain an independent material evidence of his guilt, all of which the state has disclosed or will disclose, specifically with respect to DNA. An STR-DNA analysis found defendant's DNA matched the DNA collected from the K-bar knife sheath. All right, hold on, let me bring back the stream. Okay. Okay, where are we at? Okay, so here we're right here. To the extent the IGG information has any relevance, the fact that it led law enforcement to defendant's name, it is inculpatory rather than exculpatory in nature. So they're saying because the fact that it led law enforcement to the defendant means it is inculpatory rather than exculpatory in nature. Thus, Rule 16 does not require the disclosure of the IGG information because it is not relevant to and certainly not favorable to the defendant on the issues of guilt or punishment. Rule 16b-4 does not require the disclosure of the IgG information because the IgG information does not satisfy any of the required criteria. The nature of the IgG information is such that its disclosure is not required under Rule 16b-4. That rule requires the disclosure of books, papers, documents, photographs, tangible objects, and buildings or places only when they, one, are material to the preparation of the defense, two, are intended for use by the prosecutor as evidence at the trial, or three, were obtained from the defendant or belong to the defendant. The IgG information does not satisfy any of these criteria. And they do go on to explain it, guys, as far as, because I know some of you are probably thinking from the comments before, well, doesn't that belong to the defendant? And then they explain all that. I feel like they really do a good job at like explaining everything, in my opinion. All right. Okay. First, the IgG information is not material to the preparation of the defense. Defendant is charged with killing 4 people, not with being related to a particular person. The mere fact that uploading the completed SNP profile into a publicly available genetic genealogy service led law enforcement to relatives of the defendant does not affect the strength of the evidence against him. The strength of the evidence against defendant in terms of DNA evidence depends upon the confirmatory result from the STR-DNA analysis between defendant's DNA profile and the DNA recovered from the K-bar knife sheath. As explained further below, the state intends to introduce the STR-DNA analysis at trial and does not intend to enter any evidence pertaining to the development of a SNP profile or tree building process for inculpatory purposes. The state has disclosed or will disclose the information it has related to the STR-DNA analysis conducted in connection with this case. The immateriality of the IgG information to the preparation of the defense is perhaps best understood by way of analogy. Okay, here we go. Yeah, that's a good. I mean, that's a good question. Joaquin Yan. Okay. I mean, no, that's true. Commercial. That's what. But here's. Can I just? I have a response to that. I get that. I 100% get that. Like, where is all the? That would be hard to do that. One person. Number one. That's why I'm open to maybe he had help, or I don't know. So that he didn't. There wasn't DNA all over. There wasn't blood trailed. But think about this, right? We know it happened. We know the murder happened. We know that they were stabbed. I mean, we know that there was like just the specifics of the crime, how it took place. Like, we know it happened, right? So somebody did it, right? Think about who would have the means and the intelligence to pull that off without leaving all this DNA and blood and trails behind. You know what I'm saying? If anybody, we know it happened, so somebody did it. So if anybody could have done it, it could have been somebody like Bryan. You know what I'm saying? Somebody that studied crime scenes, criminology, somebody that was, intelligent in a way like that, and somebody that would have been able to plan it and pull it off without leaving all that. So if anybody is likely to do it, it would be somebody like that because we know it happened. So somebody did it. And it doesn't look like it was some clumsy, like sloppy person that left blood everywhere. So it would be somebody that planned it, or else there'd be blood trails. Somebody that probably brought like an extra cover and making sure there's no DNA that got on them, covered them up, and then somehow probably took all that off and put it in the trash bag or put it in some kind of bag to not like maybe even wore those. I always thought from the beginning, like even before Bryan got arrested, that he had those, those footy things that like medical, like doctors, surgeons will wear. I always thought maybe he wore one of those. So each murder, he took it off, put it in his trash, in the bag or wherever that he put his clothes, the bloody stuff, and then put on another pair. And then after the murder, took those off so then he didn't track up anything. I always thought that that was a possibility. But if anybody did it, it's somebody like him that is aware and was able to pull it off without being sloppy. And of course, and then some people will argue, well, then, oh, he left that knife sheath. If he planned it, how would he how could he make a mistake like that? But yeah, when in the moment though, you never know. And that was only his looks like his only mistake. Hopefully he did. We'll find out he made more if it's him. Like I said, I'm not 100% sold. I mean, I'm open, but I'm just saying in my head, I'm just bringing up my thoughts on it. That is why I like some of the reasons I do lean more towards him. Um, and this is the only one, so don't think this is the only reason that I'm leaning more towards him. But like if anybody, it's just that type of a person, I feel like, that would be able to pull off something like that. But yeah, he made a mistake because in the moment, or the killer made a mistake. Because in the moment, you don't know how everything's going to go. You don't know how they're going to react. You could try to plan it as much as you want, but in the moment, adrenaline's going, people are reacting, and just it's unpredictable. So yeah, the killer made a huge mistake, and somehow left his sheath, but that would be, I feel like that's more believable than not making one single mistake. You know what I'm saying? Killing four people like that and not making one single mistake, you would expect at least one mistake, and let's hope that he made more than one mistake, whoever did it. But that's why it's like I feel like I'm more open to like, okay, maybe he did have help, because then that could explain, you know, like how it was done and there wasn't a bunch of stuff left. Uh but yeah, no, I get your point though, commercials on that's I mean, you would think, how do you have a crime like that where we know at least Sienna was fighting. We know that Sienna has defense wounds. So we know at least there was some fighting back, okay? So there's no way he didn't have blood on him. I mean, that kind of a murder, and then somebody's fighting back, and you have Ethan's a big guy. I mean, yeah. So yeah, it's very crazy. Like I said, I think whoever did it definitely, I shouldn't word definitely, because I think they changed, that they took it off like before they walked out, that they somehow like took off the top layer and put it in a bag, and so they didn't track everything out and stuff. And then if they were in a car, they didn't bring all that back in their car. But who knows? What if the killer was on foot? We don't know that. What if it was somebody that was on foot? Because before they arrested Bryan, I always thought that in my head, I was picturing the person that did this on foot. That's what I was picturing before the whole like white Elantra search and then arresting Bryan. But before that, I always just pictured somebody walking in on foot, because, you wouldn't want to have your car be seen in that area. So, oh yeah, Morningstar, maybe. And then I'm always thinking, okay, let's say if it is Bryan, it makes me wonder, is that why he went back at like 9 that next morning? Like I said, I know it doesn't prove that he actually was at the house, but let's say if he was, because he went back in that area, did he go back to see if, debating, oh shoot, I dropped my knife sheath, and thinking, oh, I'm going to see if I could go back in and get it, but then maybe he got too nervous, or maybe there was RIP. I'm trying to think if there was, I mean, I know they say that it was 11:58 911 call, but all the rumors, how people supposedly knew about it ahead of time, and was there people there? Did he see somebody? But who knows? I mean, that might have anything to do with it. He might not even have been by the house when he was in the area. But it's just, there's a lot of questions. I have a lot of questions. Trust me, I do. No, I know, Kmart, I'm right with you. There isn't any. There isn't any. I 100% agree. That's why, like, when I get in debates with people about, like, oh, he's a drug dealer, because I always like to play like devil's advocate. I always like to take the other side. So if somebody's saying one thing, I like to look at it from the other side. So I'll like bring an argument from whatever the opposite side is of whoever I'm talking to, just to see, because like even if I believe real strong in in way, and then somebody is on that side, and then I like to bring like the other side because I want to hear what they have to say of like maybe possible questions or doubts that are from the other side to see how that person would describe it, if that makes sense. So yeah, I mean I asked some of those people the same thing. Well, why drug dealer? Because just because you do drugs doesn't mean that you sell them because especially heroin. Because most people that like have heroin habits, addictions, they are well, any drug addicts, they're horrible drug dealers. But some people do. I would say weed users would be the easiest as far as like they'd be fine drug dealers. But like if you have like a hard drug that you're addicted to, you're going to be a horrible drug dealer. A lot of people will try because they want to, but most of the time it comes down to just like making enough to support your habit. Um, but just because he has a history of using them doesn't mean he has a history of selling them. But I think the thing is, Kmart, is that people think that is because it doesn't, it wouldn't be like, oh no, he's like a straight edge guy. He wouldn't do drugs. It basically puts him in that possibility that he could be because he has a history of drugs, so he could be in the drug world or whatever. But no, there is no proof that he knew him or that. But who knows? Okay, so okay, hold on. Well, Walken, do you want to do if I do an open panel later, would you want to come up and talk about your theory? I'd like to hear all the details of it, 100%. Would you be interested or no? Oh, I agree, Shaw oh, that's you, Shauna. Yeah, we've already talked about it. Never mind. I thought that was somebody else. Oh, no, yeah, Steven. Oh, I agree, 100%. Me and Shauna talked about that. That's why I cannot latch onto that theory. I don't know. I know there's a lot of people that do. I just can't. There's just too many reasons that makes no sense to me. Like I said, like me and Shauna talked about on the one live, like they don't pay. I mean, uh, uh, 4 dead people don't pay. They're gonna Why didn't they okay, so why didn't they at least take the car then too to make up? Even if they still wanted to kill him to make their point, wouldn't they have taken her new car? I mean, wouldn't they? I mean, they'd be probably more likely to probably do a ransom to get money, or you know what I'm saying? And if some of these people are saying it's too for a message, to put out. But that doesn't work because nobody knows that message then. They didn't take credit for it. So nobody even knows it. Let's say it is a cartel and they're trying to send a message, but nobody even knows that message then because they're not taking credit for it. So the message is pointless. So not only didn't get paid, but there's no message to anybody because nobody even knows it was the cartel, if that makes sense. And if I mean, I guess you could think, well, maybe there's a small group on the inside they know. Is that worth it for a few people that are probably going to be out in a year because it's a college town? They're probably college kids. I just don't know. That one's just hard. I don't know. I don't see that. It's hard for me to believe the whole cartel thing. And I mean, you're like I said, you're everybody's welcome to have that opinion. I'm just giving my opinion. I can't see it being a cartel. Not any part of me can I see it being a cartel. It just yeah, they would be more willing to like first give some signs ahead of time to try to get their money. Um, and then if it is, they would make it known that it was them in some way. So message received, but I just don't even think that it would be worth sending a message. They want their money, so they would have more likely took their car or whatever. But I don't know. Anyway, oh, evil exists. What's up? I haven't even been following the Titanic thing. You haven't really missed too much. I would recommend evil because well, I'm reading this here, so listen. But I mean, maybe read it on your own too. This new document's pretty information or pretty interesting. Wait, some lawyers on YouTube are saying this is too weak. That defense will challenge the validity of the arrest warrant. Oh, really? Wait. What's too weak? Okay, this is too weak. The defense will challenge the validity of the arrest warrant. Wait, do you agree with that? The validity of the arrest warrant? You're saying that this is weak that we're reading. The validity of okay, wow, I thought it was pretty good, but I'm not a lawyer, so yeah, but you're saying lawyers? What lawyers though? Well, dang, I don't know. I thought it was pretty good, but I guess like I said, I'm not a law student or a law degree or anything. But science, that's why I like this. Like I like science kind of stuff. And to me, it was like, wow, this all makes sense. But who why were you saying that? I mean, who are you saying that to, Shauna? What was that in response to? I'm confused. Lies with a PCA, the use of the sheath to acquire the warrants. The use of the sheath to require the warrants. But wait, what? See, I guess this is where my lack of law knowledge is limiting me because why can't you use the sheaths for a warrant? Like, what are the rules of what you could use to get a warrant? Isn't it usually some kind of evidence? If that makes sense. So why couldn't like DNA be something that they use to get the warrant? Like, what am I missing here? Yeah, but why is that bad to have one good piece of evidence then that helps with the rest? Is that really isn't that the way that it works a lot of the times? I mean, is that illegal to be set up like that? That's why I don't understand what's the issue with that. But like I said, that's where my lack of not like law knowledge comes into play. I just um I guess I don't understand that as far as oh, because if without the, the DNA on the sheath, then the rest they would never have or is weak or they would never have the other stuff. But isn't that how it happens? You get a tip that leads to the rest of the stuff? Why is that bad is what I'm trying to figure out. I don't see how that's a bad thing. And what law does that break? Yeah, the sheath didn't take their law. No, I agree, but that's how they one of the tips where they were able to uh find Bryan. But isn't it always something that helps you figure it out? It might not make any sense. Isn't there always something that leads back? Um, yeah, that's true. That's true, P. Fox. That's huge. Right there. That will be interesting to see if they match. And P. Fox, to see if all of uh the wounds or whatever, all of them match one weapon. But that's still that can mean 2 things. It could mean, "Oh, he used more than one weapon," or there's more than one person, you know? That'd be interesting. And I'm sure that the, prosecution has experts to go over that stuff. Usually they go over, that kind of stuff in the trial. But with that being said, I bet you the defense is probably trying to get expert witnesses to maybe argue that and to see if there's any holes or like not holes, but like anything where they could show that, oh, that doesn't match the weapon, you know? I hope. No, I hope, Kmar. I hope.
Yeah, no, I think there's a possibility. I remember when that shortly after we, actually talked about it on the live, about how, I was like, "Wonder if he can't." That's what he did to he came back to looking for it. Yeah, I think there's a bona fide troublemaker. Yeah, I think there's a possibility he could have too. I keep going back to that statement supposedly that he made, where he asked if they arrested anybody else, which doesn't 100% mean. I mean, he could have just, been using that for some kind of a motive and tactic. Okay, so let's finish reading this. Um, so it says the tip that came from IgG process is no different than other types of technology hits that pull law enforcement on the trail of a suspect. See United States versus Johnson. For example, in Johnson, law enforcement recovered a suspect's DNA from a ball cap left at the scene of a bank robbery. Law enforcement ran the DNA profile through CODIS, which resulted in multiple hits, including the defendant's ID. A scientist narrowed down the hits to the defendant, and law enforcement confirmed it was the defendant's DNA after acquiring a buccal swab from the defendant. The defendant moved to compel the other CODIS hits from the government, but the court denied this motion. The court explained that the DNA evidence material to the defense was the direct comparison between the DNA on the hat and the DNA taken directly from the defendant. The fact the defendant was first identified as a possible suspect based on database search simply does not matter. Wait, the fact that the defendant was first identified as a possible suspect based on okay. ID, where are we at? At 3-4 emphasis added. Okay. Here, the IgG information, like the initial CODIS hits in Johnson, is not material to the preparation of the defense because it only shows how defendant was first identified as a possible suspect. Moreover, the IgG information could not support an argument from the defendant that law enforcement violated his Fourth Amendment rights by entering the DNA collected from the K-bar knife sheath into a genetic genealogy service. Moreover, the IgG information could not. I'm going to read this over to myself if you guys want to. Some people hate when I read things over. It's helpful for me. So I'll just do it to myself, but I'm just reading this over right here. The defendant, that the law enforcement. So they're trying to say, like, we didn't violate his Fourth Amendment rights by entering the DNA collected from the K-bar knife sheath into a genetic genealogy service. Okay. Hold on one second. Let me bring up. So Fourth Amendment protects people from unreasonable searches and seizures by the government. It's not a guarantee against all searches and seizures, but only those that are deemed unreasonable under law. Okay. So, oh, man. Guess it's just this game you got to play with the laws and who's better at it. And I mean, to a degree, I mean, I know but like, who could find other cases that support this or that. And yeah, okay. Oh no, you're right. Walking on, you're smart. You're a smart person. Are you a male or female? I just don't know what I'm talking about. You like how to say like he or she or they or whatever all these pronouns people have now. I'm not familiar with all the different ones, but you don't have to answer if you don't want. But okay, so let's continue. Those lawyers are only going by the PCA. Listen to EDP. Maxie Doodle, what are you talking about though? What lawyers doing what? Female. Okay. Waken Yawn. No, it's Waken Yawn Taco. Tonka. Wait, hold on. Waken Yawn Tonka? Yeah, but I feel like that's just normal. I feel like that's like if you have a good lawyer, that's kind of normal just to try. I mean, think about on the Lori Vallow case, Pryor and his and before not before Pryor, but remember Lori Vallow? What was her first lawyer's name? He was really like that too, like every single thing. But I mean, you're talking about a murder case. Um, that I don't think. I mean, it's not unreasonable, but with that being said, I don't think all of us should jump to like these conclusions from it, me thinking because all these things that she's doing that means, oh my God, the state's doing, they're being illegal or they're being fishy or they're doing something wrong. Because of course they're going to try to point out every little thing and make it seem like they are. But we like, hopefully as we read it, we could try to, use our own judgment to see really what, kind of what's going on from what we know. I know we only know so much stuff, but like, don't take it as, oh, that for sure means that the state's, doing some shady stuff. That's just what they're gonna do, you know. Yeah, she's just doing her job. I agree. I totally agree. But do you remember Pryor and what was lawyer's first defense? Why can't I think of his name? He was, I think, almost worse than Pryor, but like motions, everything, so many things. Um, you know. Okay, so let's go. Let's continue. Oh, wait, when is it? Shoot, that's coming up, isn't it? You guys remind me. I don't want to miss that. Is it going to be on TV or on video? I really don't want to miss that. I don't want to like be preoccupied with this case and miss it. I've already missed a lot, looking into this case, which is fine, but I don't want to miss other stuff too much. Okay. Where did I take off at or leave off at? Okay, so moreover, the IGG information cannot support an argument from defendant that law enforcement violated his Fourth Amendment rights by entering the DNA collected from the K-bar knife sheath into a genetic genealogy service. A defendant cannot prove a violation of the Fourth Amendment without first showing he or she had a reasonable expectation of privacy in the place searched. And I'm sure you're right. Whoever said, made that one comment, I'm sure she probably will find something to bring up about that. You're right, probably about a lot of these things. But can you blame her? That's her job. The K-bar knife sheath was abandoned at the scene, as was the DNA inside it. Defendant cannot show that he had a reasonable expectation of privacy in DNA left at the scene of a quadruple homicide or in the genetic information of his relatives, who voluntarily provided their own DNA to a genetic genealogy service. Wait, so he had a reasonable expectation of privacy. Yeah. Okay, so there's another case they cite, Pyro versus State. Holding defendant did not have reasonable expectation of privacy in water bottle from which officers recovered DNA, and observing that this court has found no case holding that a reasonable expectation of privacy should be determined by a suspect's desire to keep his or her genetic identity private. Additionally, the sheath and the defendant's DNA left on the sheath were seized pursuant to a valid search warrant issued by a magistrate judge, which means the law presumes that the search was reasonable. State versus Hutton. When a search is conducted pursuant to a warrant, the burden of proof is on the defendant to show that the search was invalid. I want to read that one more time. Sorry, guys. When a search is conducted pursuant to a warrant, the burden of proof is on the defendant to show that the search was invalid. Second, the state did not rely on the IGG information to establish probable cause for defendant's arrest. did not present the IGG information to the grand jury and has no, that's the IGG information. Yeah, they're not planning on using that. That's why, one of the reasons they don't have to disclose it too, but also because they're planning on using just it'll explain that. You'll see. All right. So yeah, they have no plans to present the IGG information for which a protective order is sought as evidence at a trial. Let me see what note they did. 6. Let's see. If anything, the state would have one of the detectives testify at trial only that they received a tip pointing law enforcement to defendant. The state reserves the right to present the IGG information at trial if the court requires the state to disclose the IGG information to the defense. Okay. So basically, yeah, they're saying if they do end up saying they have to disclose it, then they have a right to present it. But they're not planning on it. The only thing they're planning on doing is this. If anything, they would have a detective testify at the trial only that they received a tip pointing to law enforcement. Now they're just talking about specifically the IGG information, okay? All right, so instead, the state has relied on and will continue to rely on the STR DNA analysis comparing defendant's DNA to the DNA on the K-bar knife sheath to establish defendant's guilt. Again, the state has disclosed or will disclose information related to the STR DNA analysis conducted in connection with this case. Okay. Third, the documents and tangible objects encompassed in the IGG information were not obtained from defendant, and defendant has no property interest in them. Okay, so read that again. Here, I'm going to highlight that one. So it says, third, the documents and tangible objects encompassed in the IGG information were not obtained from defendant, and defendant has no property interest in them. To the extent the DNA on the K-bar knife sheath once belonged to defendant, he abandoned that DNA when he left it at the crime scene of a quadruple homicide. The defendant has never had a property interest in the records that reflect the SNP profile developed from the DNA on the K-bar knife sheath, nor has he ever had a property interest in the information gathered from the genetic genealogy service using the SNP profile, such as the information provided to the genetic genealogy services by defendant's relatives. So they're saying, yeah, he's never had any property interest in the records. Nor has he ever had property interest in the information gathered from the genetic genealogy services. Example, the information provided, such as information provided to the genetic genealogy services by defendant's relatives. Services by, okay, sorry. In short, none of the IGG information the state seeks to protect came directly from defendant or currently belongs to defendant, and thus Rule 16.4 does not require its disclosure. Okay, so Rule 16b5 does not require the disclosure of the IGG information because the IGG information is not the result of a scientific test or experiment. Rule 16 also requires, wait, hold on, 6. Did I already read that? Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, so Rule 16 also requires the disclosure of information related to scientific experiments, but it only applies to limited information. Namely, Rule 16 requires the disclosure of results or reports of scientific tests or experiments made in connection with the particular case. ICR 16, emphasis added. The rule does not require the state to disclose what law enforcement does with the results or reports. Moreover, a process, procedure, or investigative technique is not a scientific test or experiment merely because it involves the comparison of information or objects or requires the use of logic or reason. Okay. So it says C State versus Matthew. Holding an officer's comparison of two keys did not constitute a scientific test or experiment because it was merely an observation of similarity between the two keys. Okay. There were two types of scientific tests conducted with respect to DNA that fall within the purview of Rule 16. First, law enforcement used STR-DNA analysis to compare the DNA on the K-bar knife sheath to defendant's father and then to defendant. As required by Rule 16b-5, the state has provided the reports from those scientific tests. The state also provided information related to the STR-DNA analysis because the state plans on using that information at trial. See ICR 16. Second, the private lab developed the SNP profile from the DNA on the K-bar knife sheath. As required by Rule 16b-5, the state will produce the report that documents that DNA test. They will produce the report that documents that DNA test. Okay. Rule 16b-5 does not require the state to disclose how the SNP profile was used. And the genealogy the FBI conducted based on the DNA information does not constitute a scientific test or experiment. The genealogy the FBI conducted based on the DNA information. Okay. Sorry, I'm just reading this over a couple times. Okay. The FBI submitted defendant's SNP profile to one or more genetic genealogy services and were able to view potential relatives and access unverified data added by users in the genetic genealogy service. Starting with those potential relatives, the FBI engaged in traditional genealogy to put together a family tree that could lead them to the suspect. Putting together the family tree required the FBI to review sources such as social media, publicly available databases, subscription-based databases, vital records like birth certificates, census records, and historical newspapers. None of those actions can accurately be characterized as a scientific test or experiment. The product of the FBI's efforts was a family tree comprised of hundreds of defendants' relatives. Put simply, the family tree created by the FBI cannot accurately be described as the results or reports of scientific tests or experiments, and thus falls outside of Rule 16b-5. So remember, this is a list. Hold on, because that was D. Where does it start? C. I just want to see something. Sorry, guys. Just close your eyes if it's making you dizzy. Oh, screw it. That's too far up. Oh, well. I just wanted to see something, but I wanted to see what the main thing where it started, but oh well. So we're at D though, okay? Is this interesting to anybody else? I don't know why I found this so interesting to me. What about you guys? Hey, Big White Horse. Aunt Boo Boo, what up? Okay. Good cause exists for this court to enter an order protecting the IGG information, and if necessary, the court should hold an in-camera hearing. Okay. The mere fact that the IGG information does not fall within Rule 16 is reason enough for this court to enter an order protecting the IGG information. But the state is not seeking the protection of the IGG information as an exercise in obstinance. So yeah, they're saying does not fall within Rule 16. So it's reason enough to protect it, you know? Um, so it's not seeking the protection as an exercise in obstinance. Instead, the state seeks to protect hundreds of innocent civilians from having their personal information, including their names, birthdays, familial connections to the defendant in a high profile quadruple homicide, from being disclosed. The disclosure of the IgG information risks harm not only to these indirect informants, but also to the genetic genealogy services used by the FBI and the IgG investigative technique. So 7 right here, this rule I want to see. I forgot to read that note. I like reading the notes. Similarly, the family tree created by the FBI cannot accurately be characterized as reports or memoranda made by a police officer or investigator. And the FBI has indicated that they did not create reports or memoranda as they conducted the genealogy. Even if the notes jotted down by the FBI agents or the family tree constituted reports or memoranda, as explained above, those records are not in the possession of the prosecuting attorney. So they're saying once they got off, they don't have it. They'd have to go back on. Because remember earlier they were talking about they'd have to log back on and create a whole thing and do it again. They don't have those reports. That was the end part of it. And then the beginning of this little note is that they didn't create any report. I mean, they just jotted down some notes. Oh, what questions, Amber? You should take a look at what questions. All right, where are we at? Yeah, you never know, Kmart. They might. Yeah, they could. They do. I mean, yeah, we'll see. Who knows? I mean, this. I feel like nothing's really gonna surprise me. Maybe, actually, maybe. But I don't know if there's gonna be, because we know so, like, everything's been so kind of like vague in different areas. So therefore, if we find something like big, is it gonna be more? I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna be like a surprising thing, or is it just gonna be like, okay, that's good to know, or is it gonna be like, oh my god, I never would have thought. I guess we could probably still be surprised, huh? All right, let's continue here. Where are we at? I think I'm right here. The disclosure of the IgG information risks harm not only to these indirect informants, but also to the genetic genealogy service used by FBI and the IgG investigative technique. Oh, I did read that. Sorry. This court should follow the procedure laid out by Idaho's appellate courts to determine whether the IgG information must be disclosed. But here's the thing. Let's say they win this argument and they have, which I don't think they will, because they've cited a lot of cases. Like, I don't think they're going to be able to get that information, but who knows? Let's say they do, and the state has to give them the IgG information. I mean, what is the defense thinks is going to be in there to use? Shauna, do you have any thoughts on that? Is it just to, like, because that's their job and they're going to try to do everything, like argue everything? Or do you think there's a reason that they want this, because there's a reason that they think it's going to help them? Or is it just, them doing what they do? Shauna, like, from a legal perspective, what would be, do you think there's really something in there that they want and they think is going to go somehow going to help them in their case? No, I get that. So that's what I'm saying. Or is it just for that? So you think it's just because, so it's not like there's something specific in there that they think they're going to use? Because I don't think, I mean, it doesn't seem like there would be what would be in there, but I get it. They're just trying to get everything. Okay. Yeah. I mean, Yeah, I think yeah, Boo Boo. I think they're like all of the most of the theories out there are probably pretty. I don't want to say baseless because I don't want to insult anybody. I don't mean it like that. I just mean there's because there's not enough that we know that there's any theories that really any theories where it like makes perfect sense where it doesn't go against like something else where it's like nope, that's not it can't work because of that, you know? Yeah, I know. I hate that it's making it look like that and that people are actually, you know, linking or grasping onto that kind of stuff and like almost like spreading it like that maybe that the state is being like, oh, suspicious. I don't know why that bothers me when it's actually pretty normal stuff. But there's some people that are, like, thinking that it's because of that. I'm not saying that maybe there is some suspicious things that the state's doing, but I'm just saying because of that specific thing that people are saying that. I don't like that because it's just the normal processes of court. But when people use that as like, "Oh my god, that means they must be doing something suspicious because of those." But, of course, there could be other reasons people think that, so don't I'm just talking about that specifically because of these, court stuff. Oh, yeah, true. I mean, that's true. There's stuff that, I mean, I think I know what you're trying to do, yeah, Boo Boo, which is fine. But, you're totally right. There's not I feel like all the, theories are gonna be gonna be like, there's gonna be some aspect that's like, no. Um, but the reason I pointed that theory out, Sleuthy, is because it's the only theory that I've seen that has some parts in it that actually are like I've never heard anybody say, and it's all actually like okay, like maybe there's something to that. It bothers me, and it could be something so innocent, but that doesn't make sense why they haven't came out and cleared the DoorDash driver. I don't know why that's weird to me, but I guess some of you it's not weird to, and it might be nothing. It really might be. But I thought Sleuthie brought up I liked her way of thinking, and I thought she brought up some good points. And because that one video I had done like a couple weeks ago about how I can't find where the DoorDash driver was cleared. That's why I was like, okay, well, you know, you never know. You never know. But of course, there are some parts of that it just doesn't fit either. So, all right, let's go. I just want to see what. Yeah, that's the part I love that part. Like I didn't see anybody bring that up about the transfer DNA that Sleuthy brought up about how it could have been transferred a different way. Um, and that like actually gave an example of maybe a possibility of how it happened. Like I really that was very smart. Like it was yeah, interesting. It was like, yeah, it's okay. It was like what's the word for it? Because there's all these you know, hypothetical theories out there, but this is the first time I feel like that I heard something new, like a new little aspect of it, I should say. Like that part of it that I've never heard anybody else mention a reason of that. So that's why I like that. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if I had to bet on it, I would say the same thing, walking. If I had to like bet and like say either or, okay, I right now I have to choose. Was he the driver? I would go with no too. But I still think it's weird why they didn't clear him. I don't know why. I mean, I don't know why they didn't. That part's just like, why not just say it? So it makes me wonder, is there something more to that? Is it because they are gonna be like but they could have still cleared him. Are they gonna be like a potential witness? Did they see something? But it's still they could have still said they were cleared. Did that person help? Are they still not sure if that person helped in some way, if it's not Bryan? Or is it just innocent? It's just like, nope, we're just protecting him and we just freaking forgot to clear him? I don't know. Forgot to say something? But yeah, no, I still, Sleuthy's theory was definitely still worth talking about, and it's definitely still has some really, I really like it. It's got a lot of stuff I like about it. So yeah, yeah, you never know, big white horse. You never know. All right, let me finish this. Where are we at? Oh wait, I don't remember reading this right here. So we're talking about providing the IGG information would require the disclosure of the identity of informants and prejudice the state. The process used to collect IGG information required gathering information from several informants. Wait, hold on. Can I read that again? I'm sorry, guys. The process used to collect IGG information required gathering information from several informants, um, including the genetic genealogy service, to which the SNP profile was submitted and indirectly from the relatives of the defendant who hit on the SNP profile. Pursuant to Rule 16, already. Disclosure must not be required of an informant's identity unless the informant is to be produced as a witness at a hearing or trial. The state has no intent of presenting the IGG information for which a protective order is sought as evidence at a trial, which means none of the IGG informants will be produced as witnesses at trial. The non-disclosure of this information is consistent with the state's privilege to refuse to disclose the identity of a person who has furnished information relating to or assisting in an investigation of a possible violation of a law to a law enforcement officer. This could go along with the what we were just saying about the Doordash driver. But like I said, I understand why they didn't name the Doordash driver. I just don't understand why they didn't just say he was cleared. That's what's bothering me. But I'll drop it, guys. I'll drop it because there's nothing really more to say about it until we find out more information. Okay, so let's see. So this is person furnished information. So as general matter, we protect the identity of informants. The U.S. Supreme Court has explained to encourage the flow of information concerning the commission of crimes to law enforcement. McGray versus Illinois. Such communications are discouraged if the informant's identity is disclosed. The court's words written long before SNP profiles were used for investigative purposes. So apply with a particular force to IGG information. Okay, so both the genetic genealogy services to which law enforcement agencies submit a suspect's SNP profile and the customers of those genetic genealogy services who may unknowingly be related to a suspect would be less likely to make their information available if courts start requiring the disclosure of their information in criminal cases. Good point right there. That's a very good point because think about that. You know, you freaking start giving that information, then they're going to stop disclosing that, like people that are doing these genealogy tests, and then therefore it's going to limit for them to be able to use these in cases to solve murders, because if they don't disclose it, they can't even make any links to anybody. So therefore, because I mean, law enforcement are really probably loving this new thing. You know what I'm saying? So I think in the future, it's going to be a very big part of investigating, right? As part of a part of evidence, I feel like. So if people are scared and they stop putting that information available, then when they're doing like cases and they're investigating, the law enforcement is not going to have that option anymore. If they start like letting the identities be known, you know, that would, yeah, that's a good point in my opinion. Anyway, where are we at? All right, so where are we? So it says protecting IgG information in part because the court retains wide discretion to protect against the disclosure of information that might unduly hamper the prosecution or violate some other legitimate governmental interest. I'll wait till somebody else answers that. God, answer it. I didn't take forever to answer it. Okay. Two, this court should follow the process laid out by Idaho appellate courts to determine whether IgG information must be disclosed. Rule 16 allows this court to enter a protective order for good cause if the court finds it necessary to review evidence in camera to decide whether disclosure is required. The rule itself allows the court to do so. The rule expressly contemplates that, in deciding whether to enter a protective order, the court may permit a party to show good cause by a written statement that the court will inspect ex parte. Take some coffee. Okay, so if relief is granted, the court must preserve and seal the entire text of the party statement. The Rule 16 standing alone provides this court with the tools it needs to review evidence in camera if the court decides it cannot enter a protective order based on this brief alone. Idaho's appellate courts have further explained the process district courts should use when faced with precisely this issue: the need to protect both the state's interest in non-disclosure of the identity of its informers. How many here would want to do open panel? Hey, Derpstein! Not that, Nikki. Yay, coffee. All right, I just want to read that one more time, guys. I'm like the type that likes to really when I read something, like I have to 100% understand it, like perfectly in my head, as much as I possibly can, I guess. That's just how I am. With school too, with college, I would have everything perfect. But that's why I did so good. Because when I did a test, I made sure I freaking knew it exactly. All right, I just want to read it one more time, guys, and it could help you guys because some of this stuff, it's good to reread it. Where are we at? Forget which one I'm rereading. Oh yeah, this part. So the appellate courts have further explained the process district courts should use when faced with precisely this issue: the need to protect both the state's interest in non-disclosure of the identity of its informers. So they want to protect that, and then and defendants' right to receive exculpatory information. So I need to highlight that part too. All right. So in Wilson, for example, because I do this State versus Wilson. In Wilson, for example, the court explained that this situation calls for a two-step process. First, the defendant must make a threshold showing that the informant may be able to give a relevant testimony. Wilson 142, Idaho at 435. If the defendant successfully makes that showing, an in-camera proceeding then provides an opportunity for the state to show that the informant's knowledge is not of such relevance that disclosure should be ordered. Okay. Yeah, so the informant must, give a relevant testimony, and if that is the case, then has to show that, um, that their information is not relevant, that the disclosure should be, ordered. The informant's knowledge is not of such relevance that disclosure should be in order. Like, there's no you know what I'm saying? There's no reason that it needs to be disclosed because it's not relevant to, whatever the case is. Okay. Um, where we at? Okay, so relying on Wilson to explain the same two-step process. Once the trial court has concluded that the defendant meets the initial threshold showing sorry. It must then conduct the in-camera examination. Further, the Idaho Supreme Court has confirmed that it is desirable and proper to hold such a in-camera hearing before ordering or denying disclosure. State versus Hosey. Even if this court finds that the IGG information falls within Rule 16, this court should follow the guideposts that Idaho's appellate courts have planned for the protection of informants. Defendants should first be required to establish that the IGG information is in fact relevant to the charges against him. If he can do so, this court should allow the state to present information at an in-camera hearing for the court to determine whether the IGG information must be disclosed. Then they cite this case Wilson 142 Idaho, blah blah blah, explaining the in-camera presentation ordinarily may be made in the form of affidavits, but allowing the trial court to examine witnesses as well if the trial court deems it necessary. So, conclusion. Based on the above, the state respectfully prays for the court to enter an order protecting the IGG information from disclosure as it falls outside the purview of Rule 16. The alternative, if the defense can establish the IGG information is in fact relevant, the state asks this court to conduct the requisite in-camera hearing for the state to present the information related to the IGG information and then enter a protective order under ICR 16. That IGG information is not subject to discovery and need not be disclosed by the state. And then the rest, I didn't go through. Hold on. I didn't go through the rest of it because did you, Shauna? Is there anything else that you think I should read? Hold on, let me make it smaller so I can get through it. Let me see here. So we have the motion of the Michael Green. So another case. Yeah, it looks like, is that the only thing that they shared? Just the Michael Green stuff? They said, which is another case. What kind of case is it? I don't even know. Here's Zeekster. Zeke, because the company. Oh, no, they shouldn't be here yet. Zeke, oh, man. Sorry, guys. Oh, I think they are here. Shoot. All right, so let's go. You know what we could do? No, it's fine. No, yeah, I mean, I was just saying yeah, we're fine. You don't even need to read it if you don't want. Oh my God, hold on. I'm gonna wait till I want to find that video that I was watching yesterday. It was just a short, but I want to find the full one that from News Nation where they're talking about the chances of them bringing the death penalty. But you know what? I could probably find like another source that says that. My God, because they're sitting outside and my aunt has a dog. So they're sitting outside and he sees them probably with a dog. I wish they just come in. Come on. But this is why I wanted to get that read before everybody came. Okay, so let me chat with you guys while we're waiting here. It'll help me. Who would want to come up for an open panel? I would love for it to like remember when I was doing Kylie where there was I actually got like a a good amount of people because I would like to be able to like rotate them off and get like a bunch of different opinions and theories up here. But why do I feel like if I put like a link, it's probably going to be like one or two people, which is awesome. But then I won't be able to get like that's why I try to plan it, but every time I do it, it still doesn't work out. I'll be like, "Hey, I'm gonna be doing an open panel," and I still doesn't work for some reason. Like, it works, but I mean, as far as, like, I have it in my head, like, if I could plan it and have, like, maybe, like, 10 people, I'm like, "Okay, we'll do each one and get, like, 20 minutes," but the people never show up, and the people that do show up, it's never that many, which, like I said, it's fine. I just wanna hear, like, different I would like to get a good variety of, like, different, viewpoints on it. Like, get, like, half of people that think he's guilty, half people think he's innocent, and then maybe not half, okay, some people that guilty, some people innocent, some people that think maybe he had help, some people that think they don't know, maybe, like, just different viewpoints. That'd be awesome. Hey, Princess Megan Elsa. I know, I do too, but I've tried it a couple times since, and I don't nobody barely comes. I don't know. And that's how it was before Kylie. Okay, so before my Kylie, that's why I barely did open panels. I would try to do them, and sometimes I wouldn't even get one person. But then I do Kylie, tried it again, and I got so many people that came up on panel. I was loving it. But then I got like, I think I took a break and stuff, and then yeah, it's back to like how it was. Anyway, all right, hold on. Let me look for a video I could play real quick. That would be a good idea why he's barking. And like I said, I still have to do the cell phone tower thing, guys. I should just do that. Like a little bit later, maybe. I don't know why I keep putting it off. You know why? Because I feel like with the cell phone, I feel like I put so many hours in it, and I feel like it was probably stupid of me to spend so much time going over it because it answers like a couple questions. I mean, not really. It just answers maybe the weird wording, but in that one part of the affidavit. But otherwise, it's like, was it really worth? Was that worth like going through all the cell phone tower stuff? Because really, it's still we still don't have that much stuff. So it's like I'm embarrassed how long I took, like how many hours I I put into that. I don't know. I'm silly. I wish I could take those hours back and and do something more, like actually more important and be more efficient. All right, I'm trying to find that video we could play. Hold on. I can actually open it up now. I'll put the link up if anybody wants to come up. If anybody wants to join me, hold on, let me do it. Since I don't really have anything else planned. I probably won't be able to stay long because I am getting company, but I could stay on a little bit more and then go eat, when it's ready to eat, I could go eat with them and then come back up and do another live. Um, hold on a second, hold on. I have to put hey, waking yawn, if you want to come join and tell us your theory or we could chat. If you want to chat with us, let's do it. It's been forever. Let's try to get you guys share this right now with share this on your platforms and say open panel so we could see. I mean, so we could get some people. Will you? Yeah. Or maybe I should have started a new one and labeled it open panel so people know. But oh well, this will be fine. Um I'll just timestamp it. I'll pin. There, that's pinned. If you guys want to join. And then in the meantime, I'll find that one video. Oh, here it is. It was 2 days ago. Let's watch this real quick. It's just a short. I don't know. It's where she's just asking, who did she even ask, though? Is this person any, like... Hold on. Let me share my video, or share my... I have to put my earphones in. Princess! What's up? Oh, cool. And then I'll just hang out and chat with you guys for a little bit. But I want to talk about this case. So what, where's everybody at right now? So I see there's a lot of, as far as that Doordash theory, are people still talking about that? I could hear my mom. All right, let me share my screen. Why is that not coming in?
Believe in the death
What
penalty.
is the death penalty for, if not for
exactly.
this?
It's doing the echo. Oh, no, it's not. Can you hear? Here, let's do it.
Case itself, 31 days until the prosecutors have to be on the record as to
I know
whether
people don't like her.
the death penalty in this case. Do you see any way around them not saying absolutely?
I can absolutely not see this going any way but capital. There's about a dozen factors that are considered in Idaho in taking cases to go capital, multiple victims, the way in which the crime was committed, and many more considerations. This hits many of those, the majority of them, in fact. And so when you have that many on the table, I can't see a rationale for why you wouldn't in a state that allows it. Otherwise, it's just a political move with prosecutors who don't believe in the death penalty.
What is the death penalty for, if not for this case itself? 31 days until the prosecutors have to be on the record as to whether they're going to seek the death penalty in this case. Do you see any way around them not saying absolutely?
I can absolutely not see this going any way but capital. There's about a dozen factors that are considered in Idaho in taking cases to go capital.
Let's look that up.
The way in which the crime was committed, and many more considerations. This hits many of those.
Let's look that up. What are the factors? You want to? Do you guys think they will seek it? You guys, if anybody wants to join me, the link is pinned. It's pinned. Let's watch. Hold on, I'm looking at another video. Yeah, we'll just watch our own. Okay, I'm going to put in different factors for a death penalty. See what we could bring up. Okay. see. Just bringing up the information for the death penalty real quick and we'll read it in Idaho. Let's see. Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, so we have, can you read this? It's really a little better. Still kind of hard to read. Wonder if I highlighted it. No. Okay. I don't know if this is the best one to read, but that's what came up. So, sentence in capital cases, special sentencing proceeding. Statutory aggravating circumstances, special verdict or written findings. So it says a person convicted a person convicted of murder in the first degree shall be liable for the imposition of the penalty of death if such person killed, intended a killing, or acted in reckless indifference to human life, irrespective of whether such a person directly committed the acts that caused the death. So that's the first one. So this is the aggravating circumstances. Oh, this is where usually the judge will read it before. I'll make it a little bit bigger. And he reads it to the jury. Now you guys can read it. Okay. Let's read 2. Okay. Where a person is sentenced to serve a term in the penitentiary after conviction of a crime which falls within the provisions of Section 1105 Idaho Code, except in the cases where the court retains jurisdiction, the comments and arguments of the counsel for the state and the defendant relative to the sentencing and the comments of the judge relative to the sentencing shall be recorded. If the comments are recorded electronically, they need not to be transcribed. Otherwise, they shall be transcribed by the court. Wait, why is... That's kind of... Why do I feel like that doesn't fit with this list? Am I missing something? Do you guys see what I'm talking about? That doesn't seem like it fits with this. Okay. Where a person is convicted of an offense which may be punishable by death, a sentence of death shall not be imposed unless... Okay, so this is worded kind of tricky. So it says a person is convicted of an offense which may be punished by death. A sentence of death shall not be imposed. It shouldn't be imposed unless then this list. Okay. A notice of intent to seek the death penalty was filed and served as provided in Section 18 for Idaho Code. The jury or the court, if the jury is waived, hold on. The jury, I'm not even going to highlight this. Now I can't get it off here. Okay. The jury or the court, if a jury is waived, finds beyond a reasonable doubt at least one statutory aggravating circumstance. So if they have beyond a reasonable doubt of at least one, where a statutory aggravating circumstance is found, the defendant shall be sentenced to death unless mitigating circumstances which may be presented are found to be sufficiently compelling that the death penalty would be unjust. Okay. They're saying basically if one is found, the defendant shall be sentenced unless there's a circumstance that is found to be sufficiently compelling that the death penalty will be unjust. The jury shall not direct imposition of a sentence of death unless it is unanimously finds at least one statutory aggravating circumstance and unanimously determines that the penalty of death should be imposed. Notwithstanding any court rule to the contrary, when a defendant is adjudicated guilty of murder in the first degree, whether by acceptance of a plea of guilty, by verdict of a jury, or by decision of a trial court sitting without a jury, no precedence investigation shall be conducted. provided, however, that if a special sentencing proceeding is not held, or if a special sentencing proceeding is held but no statutory aggravating circumstance has been proven beyond a reasonable doubt, the court may order that a precedent's investigation be conducted. Huh. Okay, so where are we at here? 5. If a person is adjudicated guilty of a murder in the first degree, whether by acceptance of a plea of guilty, by verdict of a jury, or by decision of the trial court, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Yeah, this is kind of boring stuff. I feel like I'm boring. Like it's not boring to me, but I don't know why I feel like you guys are going to be bored. If I just read it, that was kind of all right. Yeah, we'll skip that for right now. Let's find something else to watch. Well, there was a couple more documents that came out all out the same day. Well, let me find them. State's motion. We have a response from the state. We might as well just go through all the ones that came out the other day. They're from the 16th, but I think they came out not yesterday, but the day before, I think is when they got on the website. So this one is the defendant Bryan, Kohberger and counsel Ann Taylor comes now. Oh, it's the state's response to defendant's 4th supplemental request for discovery. Okay. So they're responding. The state's responding to the defense, right? All right. So the prosecuting attorney, they submit the following response to the defendant's 4th supplemental request for discovery. The state, hold on, sorry. There we go. The state incorporates its January 23rd, 2023 state's response to request for discovery, February 21st, 2023. States, all right. Sorry, I read that backwards. The state incorporates its January 23rd, 2023 state's response to request discovery. February 21st, 2023 state's response to defendant's 1st supplemental request for discovery. And March 29th, 2023 state's response to the defendant's 2nd supplemental request for discovery. And May 12th, 2023 state's response to defendant's 3rd supplemental the request for discovery. May 12th, 2023 state's response to defendant's motion to compel, and June 8th state's supplemental response to defendant's 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Oh my lord. As it fully sets forth at this point, the state has and will continue to provide discovery in accordance with the ICR 16 and applicable law. Hereby certify that it's true and correct. E-filed and served. So they're basically just saying, okay, well, here we go. We're gonna comply. Or how did they word it? We'll continue. The state has and will continue to provide it. I don't know why that makes me laugh for some reason. And then let's do, what's this one? This is the other one. This is the stipulated motion to file Exhibit C attached to the defendant's 4th supplemental request for discovery under seal. The motion is made pursuant to blah, blah, blah. It's because the documents contain facts or statements that might threaten or endanger the life or safety of individuals. It is necessary to preserve the right to a fair trial, and disclosure would constitute an unwarranted invasion of personal privacy. So, no objection. So this is the stipulated motion to file Exhibit C attached to the defendant's supplemental request for discovery under seal. Yeah. So Exhibit C attached to the defendant's for supplemental request for discovery under seal. Yeah. The United States saying for responding to, you know, one of the requests for discovery under seal. The defendants, yeah, they're saying that at least a part of what they're requesting would not threaten, or it may threaten or endanger life or safety of individuals. It's necessary to preserve the right to a fair trial, but disclosure would constitute an unwarranted invasion of personal privacy. So it's like some of the stuff that they're requesting, I feel like they're basically what I feel like what they're saying is some the stuff that they have the right, that the defense has the right to get, to have, that they are submitting it to them, but the other stuff, there's reasons that they're not for some of the other stuff, but I guess we'll see in the end if they make sure they do give them everything that they should. But that's some of the new stuff. Like I said, I wish I would have freaking just did it last night, because with this case, if you wait like a day, it's like old news and nobody cares. I mean, nobody wants to. Well, maybe it's just me. I bet you, I think it's just my channel. If I don't do it right away, then nobody really wants to watch. Let's see if there's any other videos, or maybe I should just end this and work on a different one from a different case. Because I just feel like there's nothing. I don't know what else to discuss with this case besides the open panel and hearing your guys' theories. But for me to like do like a video proposing certain theories when there's really not enough like information to have one. I mean, we can have a theory, don't get me wrong, but I feel like it's dangerous, especially for me, like for people to have channels. I don't know. I feel like I would get attacked for like just putting together a hypothetical theory. And plus, I don't think I don't even have any for this, because it's just there's nothing fits, you know? Nothing quite fits where there like anything that would make any sense. There's reasons why like it doesn't. There are like reasons why of the facts that we do have that it wouldn't fit. So it's I don't even know. Oh, okay, let's watch. You know what? Shoot, I should get off and like do another one on Corey Richins. I don't want to do it on the same one because then because of my title. Let me see what's on. Because I have so much more fun doing other cases. I have not had fun covering this case. I really haven't. Every time I do it, it's like I get in a bad mood for some reason. And like I said, when this first happened, I have a lot of videos when it first happened. When it first happened, I did a bunch, and then I took a break and did other cases. And then just like a few weeks ago, I started doing it again. So I was kind of behind and had to play like catch up or whatever. But I don't know why, like, every time I do it, like, I just never get a good feeling, like, does that make sense? Like, I'm putting a lot of time into it, and I'll be, like, doing it, and I'm just, like, always grumpy doing it, and then when I do another case, I'm like I feel like, "Oh, it's a refreshing," and it makes me feel like, not feel good, but it's just, like, I don't know. I'm, like, not even I feel like even after, like, I finish a live about this case or a video, like, I never feel like I don't want to say proud because that sounds weird, but like I never feel like, okay, you know, I'm doing some good work. I'm always like, I just feel very not good about this case. I don't know if that even makes sense at all. I keep going back to it because I know a lot of you guys want to talk about it and I have already spent so much time in it, but dang it, I'm not really liking doing it. Okay, cool. I know, and it sucks. Not sucks, but so many of you guys are like so into it, and I'm like, I am. I'm trying to be into it. My heart's not in it. My mind is. I'm trying. I'm going through everything. Like I said, I'm behind because I took a couple months off doing other cases, but my mind's in it. My heart's not in it. Not at all. Oh, Shauna, what's up? Hey, what's up, girl?
Hey, honey, hold on. I gotta mute you on YouTube because the StreamYard's so behind.
Oh, okay.
Or
What
I'm
does your
sorry,
shirt
YouTube's
say?
behind. My bad.
Oh no, you're fine.
1 second. There we are.
I'll probably have to leave in
Religion.
like 20 minutes when we eat. So is that all
You're
right? But
fine. I was rushing. I had to run to the store.
no, thank you. Thank you. You see,
It
what
says
is it?
religion makes me gag.
I like it. What is the I can't tell what is that picture? What is that?
It's a nun with the ball gag.
That's funny. Oh my god, now I get it. That's more okay. The picture you have to almost okay, the picture. Yeah. That's awesome. How are you doing? So what do you I want a cigarette. Why does that make me want a cigarette? I see that smoke. I haven't smoked in
I'm
years.
sorry, because my ashtray is right
No,
beside where I have this. I was noticing that on our last live. It was going, woo.
Yeah, it looks good though.
Yeah, that's the problem. I need to quit again. So what were you asking? What do I think? There's some interesting theories in chat today. There's some ones I haven't seen.
Tell me that because I was hoping people would.
Well, they were just elaborating on the Doordash driver, and then the one was like, "Do you want to hear my baseless theory? It really has no basis." And then they were like, "Oh my gosh, my brain just poof. I'm sorry." Their
the
baseless
Doordash
theory was that somebody, one of the disgruntled students, like got Bryan's DNA and went in there.
Oh, but why Bryan's DNA though?
One of his disgruntled students.
Oh, his disgruntled students.
Yeah. And I was like, I mean, that's a great baseless theory, but like that's a lot of work. And that's a big jump to go from I'm pissed off at my TA to murdering 4 people.
And also, if you
a big jump, like wouldn't you just slash his tires? Like,
yeah, and if you wanted to frame him though, why go to a different college though? Why not just do the same one? You know what I'm saying? Because apart, like, you know, I could see why somebody would want to, like, if it is him, why he would want to like kill off campus because you want to take the whatever the light off of you. You know what I'm saying? You don't want it to, but like if they're trying to frame somebody, you would want it to be. So why?
Right.
No, no, that's not bad. I mean, it's
no, but I mean, if for a baseless theory, I was like, that is a theory. That's I haven't heard that one. That's
but that's why it's like this case. That's why I think there's another reason where it's like, unless if there's new court documents, like it's hard to talk about because you just have to you have to come up with baseless theories because that's all we have because we only have so little. So it's like that's what you're going to talk about. If I talk about it, it's going to be something that like a just a story. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's not going to have any basis.
It leaves it open to speculation, and that's kind of what I was saying on our last live. You know, on one hand, the defense, you know, is very mad. They don't want their client, you know, represented this way in the media and represented that way, and they're trying to limit cameras and all that. And then on the other hand, they don't, you know, again, they don't want speculation, but they want to limit media. Sir, ma'am, if you're trying to eliminate speculation, then they're agreeing with the gag order. They're not trying to fight the gag order. They're not trying to, you can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways.
You're so right. Yeah.
And what a lot of people, especially with this case, like I said, they don't understand a lot of times how filings work, how many are filed under seal, how many are filed. People don't understand how discovery works. You know, we are not privy to discovery. Those are confidential documents. They are only allowed that they're privileged. They only go to the attorney client and the prosecution investigation team. That's it. That's all. And anyone that discloses that information is subject to obstruction charges up to tampering with evidence, depending on what they've done with that discovery. So, sorry guys, let me kill this light back here.
No, you're right. Where's everybody at? We only got 84 people in here. Where you at?
There was a couple saying they'd come up. I'm trying to find their name. In
Yeah, I mean, this isn't new.
P
Like,
Fox. P Fox, are you gonna come up?
well, I mean, now I'm only gonna have. I'm not gonna
A
have that much
few
time, but
minutes.
you could come up and chat for a minute.
Right.
I
It is
think
a double-edged
I think like the minute. Here's the thing with this case: the minute I say anything like I'm leaning more towards Bryan's guilt, like everybody just bounces. It's like I can't. No, I'm serious because everybody that talks about it is like very strong on like you can't even almost have that opinion, or they don't want to talk about like the people that want to keep talking about it. I feel like you really can't, like, for the majority, which is fine, but like I don't know, it kind of sucks though.
obstruction. Sorry, guys, it's still storming here in North Carolina. It's going to do the swirly thing. But somebody in chat, obstruction is a physical charge. Yes, in that instance. But obstruction can also be, when you, again, obstruct justice by the means. So if you're taking physical documents, that is a physical act. So they can also use that. Look up federal charges, obstruction of justice, especially in a capital case. I agree, chat. People do love a conspiracy. That's
Yeah,
fun.
but no, you're right. But like I'm trying to be open, and I like to hear other people's ideas, but like I can't even. I feel like I can't even just say that I'm not saying 100%. Of course, I have doubts. I just think that I'm hoping that in the trial they're gonna bring a lot of they're gonna convince us.
Right.
But like I want to be honest and say like I am leaning more towards his guilt, but I feel like I don't even think I should say that anymore if I'm doing a video on him because everybody just leaves. Like they think that I'm serious because I'm always
though. There's half the people that think, yeah, you're absolutely right, and the other half are open to speculate. And we can be open to speculation while we have our own opinions. We're all entitled to
but I'm not gonna. I don't think I'm gonna share my opinions on this case anymore because I feel like it. And here's the thing, and I swear to God, this is true. But I'm always honest, and I can't. I'm never gonna lie about anything. So I'm never gonna say like, oh, I think he's innocent just because that's what people want to hear.
Right.
No, that's why I can't. I have to say it. But I could like limit how many times I say it. But like there's that chunk when I was doing like just like a week or so ago when I was doing like Bryan, and I was honest, like, oh, I think they got the right person or whatever. And my subscribers, like I was in the negative, like dropping. And then the minute that I do a couple other cases and I do that video where I'm considering the Doordash theory,
right,
my subscribers bounced up. So it's like,
but you were also gone for a couple weeks before that. So I think people might have just thought, oh, well, maybe she's not active right now. Cause a lot of them have come back.
Yeah, but it was when I was still making them, but I wasn't, but I don't know.
Right. Well, you weren't doing lives and you weren't doing your usual thing. Can I say something to this comment here? That although he could have had help, 4 people in 9 minutes seems like a lot. And there's also been others in the chat that have said something about, well, that's not enough time. And I did make a comment in the chat. Unfortunately, I know almost exactly how quickly a stabbing can occur. My father was murdered in 2010 by a stabbing. The person that assaulted him stabbed him. We're not going to talk about all of them, just from the chest up, okay? That's this chest, not talking abdomen. Chest up over 30 times, probably way more than that because some of them were multiple wounds, so the coroner didn't count those. But the guy, he met the guy, a friend called for help. He met the guy, he was stabbed, fought the guy off, and drove more than 3 miles up the road in less than 3 minutes. And he was by himself. So, I mean, if someone can be stabbed to that extent, fight the guy off, and get up the road in 3 minutes, it's not beyond belief for me that this guy who went in with a mission, and he's a big guy. That's not a small guy. He's a big guy. And a lot of these girls were small girls. Like I'm 5'7" and I'm the short one, but these girls were, between 5'4", 5'2", and my height, I think the other one was. And I mean, that's a big guy. That's a big guy.
I think I don't think the timing, that's what I think he could definitely have done. Think about how long does it really take to stab somebody? It's not going to.
It doesn't.
I think that's plenty of time. I think it leaves a little bit of time for like extra time, in my
I
opinion.
believe it does too. Princess, this was in 2000. Oh, sorry, my screen died. There we go. This was in 2010 in North Carolina. But
We
yeah,
should
thank
put
you
a
guys.
timer. I should put a
Mission and
timer
anger.
on
Yes.
for 16 minutes. I mean, I know we might have to take a couple minutes off, but let's put it on for 14 minutes and
Go for it.
see how long that really is. I mean, that's
It's a lot longer than people think.
It is. Think about
Yes.
how long does it take to go? I mean, like less than a minute, right? I know there could have been some
And
defense,
especially when you're doing multiple. And again, when someone said
It's not-
anger and a mission, so he's not going in just slashing indiscriminately. He's stabbing to kill. So he's going abdomen, neck, heart, throat. You know, he's going for vital organs, and he's a criminology major. He knows exactly what wounds are. He's able to do that.
Yeah. So as far as
I'm
as far
sorry.
as timing, no, I don't think. I think he could have
14
went
minutes
more.
on the treadmill seems like forever.
Yeah.
Amen.
But I
And
still. Yeah. Go ahead. What?
sorry, the elliptical is the one that kills me.
Oh yeah.
I'm hating life.
Yeah, no
15
elliptical.
minutes.
That's at 14 minutes.
Yeah,
But
sorry
seriously,
guys,
guys,
it's
put
still
it.
storming.
If I had time, I don't think I have 14 minutes to do this live left, or I would put it on. But I say like next live, I'll put it on and I'll show you. Like we could, like how many times you could do this, like, and then yeah, maybe a couple of them fought off, but still, how long does that take? Even 5 minutes of fighting somebody, that would be way plenty of time. Like 5 minutes is
Yeah.
those are like when you say 5 minutes, it sounds like a short period of time, but in that moment, that's a long time. Like 5 minutes.
It is.
I'm just throwing out 5 minutes, but I'm just saying, like,
Right. And
it's longer
especially when
than-
he had two targets in one place. One was
Yeah.
asleep. If they were still drunk, which very likely they were, it was 4 a.m. They got home, drank some more, ate some food. You guys know how it is once you drink. And then you know, go to bed, get your belly full and go to bed. You're out. I am anyway. I sleep like a rock if I drink and go to
Yeah.
bed.
And that actually that puts him what's the word? I can't think of the word right now, but basically the fact that they were all drinking and we
Yes.
saw like at the truck, they were Maggie.
Oh, they
and,
were very drunk. They were
Maggie,
very
yeah,
intoxicated.
so could imagine that gave him
A
what is the word?
definite advantage.
That gave him an advantage because how
yes.
like a drunk person, that would be a lot easier to overcome drunk people.
Right,
I
chat.
think, especially if you're not like if we're ready for it, but I mean they're like sleeping, they didn't know it was coming. But like I said, with that said, and I
Right.
100%, I'm not just saying this because of what I said earlier. I do still have reasonable doubt. I do,
Sure.
but I just
Sure.
for some reason I'm hoping that the prosecution does have way more than what like they put out there. I'm just hoping that they're gonna
I'm sure they
prove to us,
absolutely
you know?
do. Like I said, months ago, they had 10,000 pieces of evidence, and that was on the initial turnover. So, you know, they keep disclosing as they get stuff, you know, and that's
Yeah.
what the state has said in their responses. We have complied and will continue complying with the laws according to discovery, according to statute, and we will give, you know, what we have when we get it. And I believe that's why this was disclosed now, because they got the lab results back there ready to go, you know, and they have to turn
Yeah.
over the results. But Taylor is saying, no, that's not enough. We want it all, which is her job. That is absolutely her job.
You guys remember the prosecution, that's their job too. So they're
Mhm.
going to try to win the game too. I mean, I know I'm playing the
Both
game, but they're
ways.
going to try to win too. So they're not going to just be like, oh, they should, because we'll just give you this if they don't have to. They want to win
Right.
too. So they're doing the same thing back. So it doesn't make them necessarily shady because they want to win too. Like, you know what I'm saying? They're both doing their job. So it, you know, you can't look at it like that means there must be something going on. It's corruption, they're hiding stuff. No, they're trying to win. Like,
Exactly. And they don't have to disclose
if they don't,
everything.
so I'm saying
And
legally, if
that's
they
what a
don't have
lot
to,
of people don't
why would they?
understand. They
Why would
only
they?
have to give things that are exculpatory, or that if he's
Yeah.
planning to raise it as a defense and they have anything that goes with that, they have to turn it over by law.
No,
And, you know,
that document, that's why I love that document. It explained like I learned a lot from that document. Like I feel like it just explained like the laws like easy, like I was able to like totally
exactly.
yeah,
It was a
easy, like,
very well-timed, well-written
Yeah.
motion, and it was really thorough. And
So-
I appreciate those. A good sassy
Yeah.
footnote is everything. So,
yeah. But do you
yeah.
see how like just because if they don't have to, just because, wait, I forget something you were just saying on that one. I want to respond. Now I forget about, never
See, I
mind.
do
I
that.
lost it. I lost it. I think I should, you know what? Like yesterday I was nervous because I didn't sleep that I'd be all over the place, but I
Right, and
think
you
I'm
said a couple
better.
days.
Like, I think, yeah, but I actually think I would have probably been better. I think I do better without sleep, to be honest.
Really?
Like I feel like I would have, I'm thinking like I probably would have been able to explain things a lot better yesterday if I did it. I don't know. I am. I think I'm prime at like a day without sleep or whatever, or 2 days. I'm weird like that.
I'm okay that morning. When we get to lunchtime, though, I'm crashing. I'm like, no, I need to go.
Really? I get a second wind. I could have probably
yeah,
stayed up
girl.
last night too, but I just knew like
It
my mom's
depends
always
what
like,
I'm doing. If
not
I'm just
good for
laying
you.
around the house, no, I'm crashing. Like,
oh
if I've got
yeah,
something
you have
else
to.
to do, I'm a mama. We keep going, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Forever. What do they call it? Energizer bunny. There we go.
Yes. So I'm just trying to
The
think what I can say.
Zavagizer bunny. That's what we'll call it.
Zavagizer. It's a good one. Man, my StreamYard is like way behind.
It
Unless if
really is. I just saw that. It's been stuck on Maxie's comment.
yeah. Unless if nobody's even, because there's only 80 people. Maybe people aren't even commenting or something.
I do. I can bring it up. I just got to mute it.
It's still nothing. I don't
Let's
know.
see.
Are you guys alive there?
Nope.
Everybody's just out.
Oh, you know what? Somebody else was saying. I've had them stick comments in the past couple weeks, but I haven't had it completely frozen. So this may be one of those things.
I don't know. I have no idea what.
Oh, there's one.
Yeah, there's
Got me,
one.
guys. Oh, there they are. Hi, guys. We'll see. And that felt like forever, but it was only 4 minutes in between those. You know?
Yeah, good point. Yeah. Oh,
4
hey,
minutes
Nicole.
in between all those, and we were like, "Wow, the chat's stuck."
Yeah. Hey, wait, how do I say it? Jathinsky, or Jathinsky?
Jathinsky.
Jathinsky.
Or
Okay.
Jathinsky.
Oh yeah, Jathinsky. Okay. What does the J
Maybe.
stand for? Like you're saying something then ski? Like what?
J. J.
Oh, okay. Hey,
I got it. Hey.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, sweet. Nice. Who else do we got? Anyway, so you said I just chucked to Corey Richards. I don't see that she's in court today. Where did you guys see that? I mean, I don't see it like on a channel, like Law and Crime, or I don't see like a video.
I haven't seen
So
that
what would
either.
you guys rather me do tonight? Do my cell phone video finally, or like do a different case, like a couple new, like maybe we could do a video talking about the Chad Dorman mixed with Corey Richards or something. Do like a couple new cases. I don't know. Any ideas? What have you been? Have you been following any of those, Shauna, or no?
I'm sorry, I was reading the chat. Haven't I been following what I want to do? I mean, I would love to see the cell phone video just because you have been working on it so
I know, but now I'm putting too much expectation. I mean, it's just I basically just mapped out the cell phone, and just I don't know. I feel like now the expectation is going to be high. It's really not. I'm almost like, is it even worth it? But yeah, it is, because just the one interesting thing is that one thing that people were hung up on, the wording. I feel like I figured out kind of what they meant by that, but maybe you guys already had figured it out. It wasn't as like deceiving, I feel like, as what everybody was thinking about, like, well, wait, they said this, but not this. But I think it's just really look close. It's kind of
meh. Yeah.
Yeah, but so that's the only thing that I'm like, that's kind of interesting. But besides that, it just goes over the cell phone and it shows you like you know, the AT&T providers, but I'm gonna do it. I am, but
well, it's up to you. Whatever you want to talk about, it's your channel. And any case that you find interesting, your viewers are going to find interesting as well, because you're passionate. You're like me. Once you find something, you dive in. So, you know, you find something you like, you're going to be passionate about it.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm diving in freaking the Idaho, but why isn't my heart in that? Like, why can't I get into it?
Because it's so tragic and everybody's so split on it. It makes it to where it's not fun because no matter what you say, even if you're just exploring theories, people are, you're an idiot. What are you talking
Yeah, I'm
about?
attacked about anything. You're right. And then I'm very sensitive. So like, if I decide like, oh, let me do this theory on this side, then, or if I'm in the middle, then people are like yelling I should be on one side. And I think I just take it
You
too
need a banner that put,
sensitive.
speculation happening now.
Yeah.
This is purely speculation based on,
Yeah.
nothing, it's your
And
channel.
it's making, and I know it's this because it's ever since the Idaho case, it's like making people unsubscribe to me. That's what's killing me here. It's like, why are they
It may
doing
be burnout too. That's what's there. Somebody else in the chat. It's everywhere already. There's not much to add on. So to add anything different, you either have to dive into the conspiracy side of it
Yes.
or the filings,
Yes.
which are on 1,000 channels right now. Everybody can log on. Idaho is not putting them on Pacer, so you don't have to pay for anything.
I
They're
know.
right
So
on
it's
the
very,
website, so everybody can do it.
yeah.
Jay
That's what it, you're,
Densky's,
that's what
I'm
it
sorry.
is. It's like if you do, no, that's what it is. Either if you want something to talk about, you have to go into these theories and like, and even if you don't even like any of them, that's the only thing to talk about,
Right.
about this case. Anything new, that's the only thing new to talk about. I already went through the affidavit. Like I thought, oh, I'll go back through that and see if there's anything, but anything in there has already been done. And I try to just like bring up something in there before that,
Right.
that had, I forget what it was. It was just like a common thing people were talking about. And I got like attacked by that. Oh, this is old news. We've already been through it. And it's like, why can't, so like,
Right. Well, okay.
am I
Thanks
not
for
allowed
the
to
engagement.
you know?
Jay
So it's
Densky is
like
asking if
nervous about,
did you ever do a video on the staircase? I was watching an
yeah,
old
I
live
did.
and you said you were
Yeah.
going.
I have. Oh, I did. I talked about yeah, well, I did a couple videos
Leaders.
way back. Yeah, when that documentary, after I watched that, and then I did a little research. So yeah, I did. I talked about it a little bit. I don't really know much more to add to that one either.
Right,
Considering I already
especially now
did the
that the
videos,
trials and
it's
deliberation,
like,
right?
yeah, I already did the videos discussing. We did a discussion. I did like, just talking about it. So I don't know what else more I could do. I'd
Find
rather
a
do
brand new
a
case.
current one.
Search one.
I want to find a current one. Yeah.
Well, if you guys have any suggestions, is there a case you're not wanting to see? I know we're all waiting for Suitcase or Samsonite Sarah, isn't that her name?
Yeah, when
Samsonite
does that start
Sarah
again?
Boone.
Oh, they pushed it back. That's
They
right.
did push it back. I think it was supposed
Yeah.
to start in July, and now it's going to be October. Or am I thinking of Kohberger? Guys, I'm sorry. I've looked at so many
Kohberger's
dates and
October.
documents this week.
Yeah, it's
Hey, Darksy.
Hi Darksea. Yeah, I mean, okay, so if there is like anything new on the Idaho, I'll definitely do it. But besides that, I would like to, because like I said, because I can't even, if I even like bring up something that somebody else has already brought up over a million times, but I want to comment on it, I feel like people think that, oh, it's old, so I can't do it. So it's like I'm out of I can't, I'm not allowed to talk about it, I guess, because I know I'm being a baby right now, but it's just
Well, let's ask
this
the
case
chat.
just made me so mad.
Would you be more interested in seeing like something more on the Menendez brothers or one of the older serial killers? Even who was the lady serial killer? What's her name? Elaine. Hold on.
Well, if I do any old stuff, I'd want to get like the interrogations and get like old
Right,
videos.
stuff
But
that hasn't been
yeah,
done. I'm
that's what
just
I need to
asking
do.
if they would be
Yeah, that I'm down for that. I just need to get the
exactly
stuff,
doing
but
those already. See, that's what I
yeah.
thought. But if we try to find something that's not been done,
I'm trying to
well,
think.
that's all right. I'm up for looking local. There's some crazies out here. We got mountains and beach people and swamps in between. Letitia Stout is from North Carolina. That should tell y'all something.
Yeah.
There's lots going on out here. There's something every day. That's for sure.
I don't know, Nicole. You have to ask. It's a long story, basically, but you'll still see her around. You'll just have to go somewhere else to find her, I guess.
Oh.
And don't get me wrong, I love conspiracies. Are you kidding me? Dude, before true crime, there was like a period in Colorado where I would spend like years, ask Randy, like a couple years, I was just dug into conspiracies. Because a lot of conspiracies end up being right. I love conspiracies, don't get me wrong. But I feel like every case I have studied since I've had my channel, everyone always has a big group of people that are latched onto a conspiracy. And I feel like not every case is not going to have this big conspiracy in it. Yeah, some do, because conspiracy, it happens. There's some stuff. But I feel like people will find that. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I guess maybe they all could. I don't know. But yeah, don't get me wrong. I do. I like conspiracies, and there's a lot that you can find. But yeah. I just didn't go that route.
I'm trying to write down a suggestion from chat.
Yeah. I thought about doing a channel on conspiracies, but then they limit so much. Like with YouTube, I chose not to, as far as like the genre of like, oh, you could just do all conspiracies, because they're so interesting to me, but you're limited because YouTube is going to unmonetize or take them down, or because they want to
flag them for misinformation.
Yes.
That's the new thing. I know they do it on Twitter, and I've seen it on a few videos on YouTube, which is crazy. Or they put the content warning, content clarity box or whatever they call that.
Yeah. So I decided, I'm like, no. But true crime, I love true crime. I love true crime. So, but I mean, I
like anything I can read court documents. That's my jam.
Yeah.
I could care less about the other aspect. I like seeing what lawyers do. I love seeing the arguments they make. But that's, again, I have a unique background with the legal system. So I really like seeing how it's done and see how it can be used to help people. That's really the biggie for me.
No, that's
the Zav files. There you go, Darksea. The weird cases we find.
I'm gonna write Ian Cleary. Is that a new one, Bonafide? Because I'm making a list of new ones that I'm gonna look into.
That's what I just wrote down. It's So I argue was written on Facebook. They've now been on the run for 2 years.
Wait, what?
That's what it said in the chat. It was posted on Ian Cleary.
So they're just missing?
No, they know who did it. He wrote it on Facebook. So I graped you on Facebook, and now he's been on the run for 2 years.
So it happened 2 years ago,
at least.
But wait, he just wrote that recently, or no?
I think at the time that's probably what led to a lot of.
But it's not you're saying it's not a new case, or
it's not a brand new case. No.
Okay.
Newer than some of the others.
Yeah, I'm open to old ones, but I kind of really want a new one. But yeah, I'm writing that. I wrote that down. If there's some interesting stuff about it, I definitely would go into it.
All right. It's on my notes. Thank you, not Darksea. Sorry, I'm looking at Darksea.
I just remembered I have a couple. Actually, I do have a couple shorts on the Idaho that I wanted to do that I never got around to. I forgot my list. I just saw. I was like, oh shoot, I never did those videos. So I will do a couple of those.
Right.
I might as well. That are actually like my kind of stuff where I like looking into stuff like maps, or like comparing stuff, or finding things in videos and stuff like that. I love that crap. So
internet sleuth extraordinaire.
So I have
but you do great at that stuff, the comparison stuff. Like I said, I started watching you right before Kylie Rodney, and that was incredible. Yeah, just watching everything unfold, the drama around it, the case itself,
so
the characters that pop up, those are fun. Those panels are fun, guys. Don't be scared. Come on up. If I can do it, y'all can do it. I have a $10 ring light from Walmart that plugs into my laptop. No special mic.
I have no light on right now. That's just my screen for my thing.
That's not fair, y'all, because Zav has like porcelain skin. That's not fair. If I turn off this light, I look kind of like a raccoon.
Oh no.
I'm joking. I'm joking on myself.
All right, guys. Well, I do hear him. I think it's time to. I'm actually getting hungry now.
Me too.
So, well, thanks for coming up, Shauna. We need to do a different case together that I'm really, my heart that's really into it, because it's just, I don't know. I feel like there's just too many things that keep going against me on this case that they keep like interacting with my confidence and making me doubt myself
Well,
too
that's
much.
it. And
I
like
don't
I
like
said,
it.
even if it is a minority that go after these conspiracy theories, it's a very loud minority. So, instead of just going, well, I agree to disagree, or maybe, sharing the facts that they think, that back up their theories, it's just, oh, if you don't believe what I believe, then you're stupid. How could you not see this? It's obvious. It's right there. Okay, but it's could very well not be, and that's not the way to approach anything. And I think you'll see the majority of your followers agree.
I know, that's what I wanted. I was hoping some people would come up so I could hear different theories, because I like hearing them, but hopefully you guys don't get mad if I don't like agree with every one of them. But like, I like to hear them, and sometimes there'll be something I latch onto that I'm like, not latch onto, that like makes sense. Like with the sleuthy theory, there's a lot. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, I'll be like, "Ooh, I like that idea." Like, huh? And then you could think, how could that maybe be true for like another scenario, even maybe, But
Right. I have to go back and watch those. I must confess, that was right in
thanks,
the middle
Karen.
of the kid swap
No,
week.
you could just go watch Sleuthy's, like a short video where she puts out her theory. Like,
Oh, okay.
or you could, or
I
however
wanna
you
watch
want to do it.
yours. I watch
Yeah.
yours.
Okay.
I'm a Zav fan. We gotta get
Aw.
those views up.
I know, guys. Like, that's what I feel like. Almost the Idaho case hurt my channel out big time
Oh, well,
too.
that's okay.
It
I'll put it on. Look, I
has.
got a fold laundry, girl. You can be on right there. That'll be just fine.
No, yeah, thanks. But look, 68. I mean, I've never been this low since I started my channel, really. I mean, it's just kind of sucks because I don't really know what I'm doing wrong with it. I guess just because, like I said, I'm not like gung ho, like I'm not like 100% on any of these, but I'm not 100% on anything. So I don't freaking know. I mean, as far as this case, I mean.
Right. No, as far as this case, you can't be. We don't have all the information. We have this much out of this much, maybe, maybe this much, and the rest of it's sealed, and we won't have it until trial.
Yeah.
So, hello, Heavenly.
Oh, thanks, Jasonsky. You're probably one of the few people that wants to know it on this case. I'm not like, oh, is this poor Zav day? No, I'm not. I guess maybe I am feeling bad. No, because this is my business, and it's just it's really affecting. Like, this month has been a horrible month for work, and I keep. And the thing is like, I know it's this case, but why do I keep putting more time into it? Like, I keep putting hours and hours into looking into it. Like, I should move on, but
because when you try to move on to something else, then people, especially when new documentation comes out, they're like, "Did you see the filing today?" And then the chat goes immediately to that. So what we can do is try to say, "Hey, we're going to cover this case today. Love you guys. Maybe no breaking news in the chat today, and we'll try to stick on this." I know other channels that do that. And I mean, it's fine. If they want to go look at that, they can look at that after the live, but they're still here to see you. And they're here to hear your perspective on these things. We love you, Zav. We like this. There's not many channels I can get on. Like, I ran to the corner store, came back, brushed my hair, and jumped on a live with you. And I'm perfectly fine with that. And there's not a lot of places on the internet that you can do that with if you don't have a studio, a whatever, a name people recognize. They're not going to let you on a panel. And you're welcome to hear all perspectives. And that's a special thing. That's a special thing to a lot of people. Special to me.
Oh, that's nice. Aww.
Sorry, all my flowers, y'all.
Oh, that's cute. I don't even know. That's nice.
Right, and that's
like...
a lot of people say. And on the other channels I'm on, a lot of our followers are UK. So if we're on at 7, 8 o'clock at night here, that's 4 and 5 o'clock in the morning over there. They're like, we'll catch you on replay. Can't see you today. Good night. Stop dinging my phone.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, Karen. Hi. Oh, thanks, E-Curb.
See, told you.
I know. There's the
the Myrtle Beach murder is a good one.
I got my loyal people there. Yeah, I know they will, but it's just I just feel like I said, this is my job too, so it's like this month has just been really bad, so it sucks. But I'm gonna stop complaining. Well, thanks. Oh, thanks, Jathensky. And I'm over here being all negative Nancy. Hey, I have my days too. And like a lot of people probably would just hide that and like pretend, but I can't pretend. Ask Juliet. Like I have this thing where I like can't be like even it's like we'll just act like this, not like to be fake, but like if you're trying to do it, this is your your show, so do this. But like I can't just like come out
Right.
here and be like fake, or come out here and be like, no, I really believe this, or I feel this way, or just for the like the sake of your channel. I have a problem with like acting, or like I don't know, it's weird. Which I wish like for my business maybe it would help, but I just can't for some reason. She gets a kick out of it. She's like, I don't understand why you can't do that. I'm like, I don't know. I just can't. She's like something like, I can't even think of an example. Well, just go and do this or say this. It's like I can't because it's not 100% true.
Right. Well, and that's great though. That's authentic, and you want to be authentic. I mean, people can tell when you're faking, I mean, if you're not a great actor, and I don't think you are, I think you say exactly what you feel, and you can again tell when you're passionate about things because you deep dive into them.
Yeah.
It's not a job exploring it because you want to know. So,
Yeah, no, I mean,
will you look at She Builder's comment?
oh, and also, yes, the Harmony Montgomery. We should have went over those documents. Those documents became unsealed. Wait, where I don't see She Builders. Where?
Harmony Montgomery.
Subscribe to hear your point of view. Do you do such a great job with your deep dives of time? Oh, thanks. You think? You have to tell me why though, because I just hope if this continues, I'm gonna be hurting. I'm gonna have to get like another job.
A real job? No.
Yeah. Hey, this is a real job. I spend more hours on this than anything.
So joking.
I know, but I'm just saying it is, and I don't think people would realize until they did it themselves. Like, you got to realize all the research in the background you're doing, then like even editing, and it's way, and then you have to almost like comments, which that's my favorite part. I like interacting, but it's not just this. There's a lot more that goes behind it.
Of course.
All right, I'm gonna go. We're eating.
Go eat.
But thanks, Shauna. I appreciate it for you coming up. I'm sorry I'm so downer, Debbie Downer, negative Nancy.
No, we're asking for feedback, and that's allowed. I mean, if there's a change in your business, you're allowed to find out why, girl.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
It's also vacation month. You got to remember, everybody just got out of school 2 weeks ago, so they're taking their 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So yeah, they'll be back in.
Yeah, but there's but that
fireworks.
I don't buy that, because that means they have more time to watch YouTube.
When I'm on vacation, I unplug, but I also go to the beach and just watch the water. Like, I just need big water to relax. The beach, the lake, somewhere with bad signal, so nobody can bother me.
Yeah, heavenly clouds. Yeah, I like mountains more than, but yeah, a lot of people like beach, and yep, you're.
Sorry, it just started pouring harder, and a train went by. That was
ooh,
a lot.
Nice.
It's going on.
She Builder and Stitches. All right, well, yeah, once we get some of that stuff, Sean, that we could get hopefully some files. Dude, I love that crap. I want to do some lives on that. I think it's gonna be I just like watching like interrogations and stuff like that, and to watch it with everybody, like, because like maybe something that none of us have seen yet. How awesome would that be?
Right.
But I don't know
would be
how hard it's going to be.
If it's available.
Yeah,
we'll
see. All right.
Thank you,
another thing, guys, maybe even if you do have old cases, because maybe if you guys recommend some cases that maybe I've never heard of, because it can give me ideas, because I'm going to start requesting like files, interrogations, like old like videos. So if we know the case name,
right,
like I might not even heard of, but you guys know there's a case called that, then we'll know certain things to request, if that makes sense.
Oh, thank you, Karen.
Karen. Oh, thank you. And thank you for your super sticker before. And if you do request a name of a case, put the state too and county, or as much information
that
as
would
you
be
have
helpful.
About
if you could put the county or at least the state,
yes.
That would be very helpful, because there are duplicate last names and duplicate cases, especially if it's the state versus.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, Shauna, thank you again. Thank you guys all. And I might be doing something later. I'm debating if I'm gonna do a live or just work on a pre-record.
Okay.
So I guess you'll find out. I gotta go eat, and then depending on how long company stays and stuff. But
I wrote that one down, Heavenly Clouds.
oh yeah, I remember that case. Okay. Trevor Brazil missing.
Oh. That one does
Oh, I saw that. Wait, I looked into that case. Where did I see that? It's recent, right? Where they
Brazil.
were looking. No, I thought is that the one that they were looking for that plant? Weren't they looking for a plant that was like worth money or something?
To look for rocks and vanished.
No, I mean I see that, but is that the
Oh.
same one though? Where like
I'm not
at
sure.
first they're like they suspected he didn't seem like he was telling the truth, but then they realized it was probably because it was this illegal plant that like the that they like a normal person like shouldn't be having access to. But I don't know if that's the one. I was reading something. It sounds like that they were out. He disappeared, the son, because he fell in the. His story was though he fell in the water. And then one jumped in to try to get him, and then he didn't see him anymore or something. I don't know. We could be talking about two different ones, but it sounds like kind of the same. Oh, okay. It's a
I'm
different
Shauna,
one.
Heavenly. Thank you.
Wait,
No problem.
What did she say? Did she ask you your name?
Thank you, guest. Sorry, I don't know your name.
Oh,
I'm Shauna.
Okay.
Answer to Shayna, Shannon. Hey, you. It's
Yeah.
no problem. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you. And next time I do open panel, don't be afraid. Look at Shauna. She's like a pro up here.
No.
Hardly.
This is my fourth live panel ever with Zavs.
Yeah, I'm looking
Zav's
forward to
training
doing
me up.
one like that. It's not about this case with you, where I'm like really like in a better mood.
Good.
All right, guys, I'm gonna go. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, guys. Bye, Zav.
Bye.